Out here on the street, I'm losing my way. You've gotten to me, and that's my mistake. Some might say I can't get too far without seeing your face. Oh. You gave me your heart and took it away. I'm going underground, going underground. Say your loving comes around, loving comes around. Going underground, going underground. 'Cause your love is not around anymore. Going underground, 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 yeah. Going underground, 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 yeah. I hide in the dark, nowhere to be found. Where there was a spark, there's now only doubt. No, no, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Oh, I thought you were sure, now you're a loser. I'm going underground, oh yeah, going underground. Oh no, say your loving comes around, loving comes around. Going underground, going underground. 'Cause your love is not around anymore. Going underground, underground, yeah. Going underground, underground, yeah.
Down for the long run now. Red Corvette and my drop top down. Calling up my digits in my Motorola, and I'm speeding like I robbed someone. Falling and I'm a whip, yeah. Out in Fairfax, going hard in the pit, yeah, yeah. I still ball on the pitch, yeah. Something wrong with the picture. Something is wrong with the way, and I don't know why. Why you need to lie? Something is wrong with the way, and I don't know why. How do you get by? Been away way longer than I'm used to. You started hanging with a new crew. Talking to my friends like that's something that I'm used to. I never cashed else, I just wanted him to lose you. Damn, puffing on that bush at Uncle Sam's. Who'd have thought that he would understand? And I just never fall out, I just wanna win. I'm in it for the long run, I do this on my fam. Something is wrong with the way, and I don't know why. Why you need to lie? Something is wrong with the way, and I don't know why.
think that I'm going to hide it somewhere by a gated star. Baby, they ain't never gonna find me. I'm a renegade. I could be the one who saved you from this place. We could be as one and we'll escape. We can run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Burns inside me. Burns inside me. Burns inside me. I won't let you down. We could have the world to ourselves, going to a place that's far, staring at the stars for hours, 'cause you're a renegade. I could be the one who saved you from this place. We could be as one and we'll escape. We could run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. I can feel it, it burns inside me. We can run away, we don't gotta stay. I can feel it, it burns inside me. Take away the pain, we can go insane. Trust me, I won't let you down. I won't let you down. Yeah, I won't let you down. 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 I won't let you down.
On a run from a given disaster, speed away from the holy mind, pride. I swear I never thought it would matter. If I'm gone by now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on trying to pen still, it feels like I'll pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head up on my back between the jars and bottle jars. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving. Good. 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 In the heat from a hot California, I forgot how you look like in rain. I swear I never thought it would matter. If I'm gone by now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on linger on
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and it's another night of the Simrigs Sprint Series as we head to AP Blue and AP Red tonight at Oulton Park. Joining me in the commentary booth tonight is Mitch Hobbs and Tim Lawson. G'day, Mitch. I'll start with you. How are you going?
Good, Mal. Hope everyone chat's going well. Looking forward to the racing this evening, I can tell you.
Oh, it should be spicy. And what about you, Tim? How did you go last night? What are you looking forward to tonight?
I'm looking forward to a dry race. Let's throw the spice out the window and see how these guys go on some dry tyres.
That would be interesting. We did get a bit of dry for purple, I believe, last night, but yeah, a lot of moisture around on Wednesday, so we'll see what happens. But without further ado, I'll leave it into your trusty hands. Have a great call.
No worries. Thanks, Mal. Here we are for the start of qualifying. I'm on board with Matthew Lamb for a lap here at Oulton Park. I believe he's the first driver for the laps. We'll jump on board with him as he comes through turn one, driving the Porsche this season, the new 992. Lovely looking livery there through turn one, nice and smooth. Can't wait to see how the drivers go. As we were saying before, it was fairly wet throughout most of the races in yesterday's split. Tim, how do you feel it going this evening?
Well, I think looking at the weather at the moment, the first 30 minutes at the moment for the qualifying is dry. But the interesting key talking point from last night was how long the wet tyres will actually last in a stint. So we did see a few guys go long stint in the second split, and they were getting some very ugly attitude on the car towards the end. So I think the guys will be looking for clean running this evening.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that rain's not showing in quali is usually a good sign, because I know in our split, the first split yesterday, it showed pretty much straight away in the 30-minute slot there. So I think the drivers will be looking for a dry race. So it's been a tidy lap so far for Matt Lamb. No real issues. Of course, with the new tyre model, you're probably not going to get the most out of the tyres sort of on the first, even 2 hot laps. Especially the first one, though. It's more so a banker just to get that timing, see where you're at, and see where it's going to put you on the board. He's got Paul Britt behind him as well. These two very good mates. I believe they're endurance partners as well. So maybe giving a sneaky toe there. But who knows? As he comes around, final corner now. Let's see what a banker lap for Lamb will be. A 33.2. That's a really good banker lap. That's incredible. And Britt's not far off. Herbert's not far off as well. Oh my goodness. If this is how the quality's going to go just from this banker lap, I can't wait for this.
Yeah, these guys are on the money looking at the times from last night. That is up at the pointy end for sure. That would have given Philippa a run for her money.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of Philippa, we've got one of her teammates for the BS Plus competition car, Ferris Stanley, back in the Sprint Series for first time in God knows how long. I think he was in a couple of seasons ago. If not first time, welcome into him. Here's Daniel Gray. The stream man himself, DG10, is saying iRacing's better. I refuse to believe that. I've already argued this with him. When I saw him at the F1, arguments were had. iRacing is not better in my opinion. Well, it is for some things, not GT3 racing, if that calms anyone's mind. We're on board now. Vic Chan in the 333 Lambo, currently in with a 33.4, so that's a really good banker lap there as well. Sean Madison there, P4 in the car 60 in the Honda. One of the only, I think there's only about less than 10 Hondas overall split. So really good to see the Honda and him up there, 2/10 off the pace on the banker lap. Let's see how that plays out.
And you drove the Ferrari last night. Hobbsy, how are you finding that with version 1.9, the brand new car?
Yeah, look, I think it's, wow. Okay, 32.6 off the bat there from Lamb. That's that's going to be a target for anyone to beat. That's incredible stuff. As Britt, I believe, it looks like there's a 32.0. The Ferrari is certainly a very nice car to drive, I can tell you that. If you're a beginner, anyone in chat, certainly give the Ferrari a go, because it's very nice to drive, as Daniel Gray is demonstrating why beginners shouldn't drive the Porsche, because it's a disaster sometimes. But I found the Ferrari pretty good. Speaking of Ferrari, here's Jamie Comboy now in the 117 Ferrari. That's a livery. My goodness me. What on earth is that? Can someone consult JC on that? That's, is that My Little Pony?
It is a very dedicated livery and certainly the colour on the track.
That's certainly one way to put it. That is My Little Pony, isn't it? Oh, I need to get a read in on that. That is certainly something else. As you see coming through this little chicane here. This is a real tough one for any car. This was drawn by one of his amazing daughters. Oh, that's wholesome. Thank you, Race Control, for that information. It's a lovely pattern is the word I was looking for there. I just had a mental blank there. That's really nice. JC Man, that was his daughter. Yeah, thanks, John. That's a brilliant thought. I'm too selfish. I had my livery made for me, actually, so I can't say that. But that's fantastic. It's a really good thought from JC there. I love it.
And it's giving him some pace too. He's second up.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's quite up on his lap. Maybe the livery's done. P11 there, 33.8. That's a good step up from him. Decides to jump off the track. As we see, Mia Rose, well, invalid, so this is not ideal. But there's a few Ferraris in this split, actually. I believe this split blue is the split that has something like 12 Ferraris or something in it. So in comparison to my split yellow, there's only about 5 of us. So you're going to get a real feel for some of the Ferrari. Wow, there's Ferris Stanley. Someone said, is he going to do a 31? I don't think so, because it's very, very difficult to do a 31 round here, let alone in the M4. But really going to give Matt Lamb a run for his money, which is great to see some competition there up the top.
Yes, the guys are certainly going to be very, very tight for that front row, looking at these times.
Is this... Oh, no. Oh, no. I saw the colours and I thought, it can't be. But it is, isn't it? Yep. Oh, who thought of this? I mean, that's commitment on the blue. That's a lot of blue. But, yeah, not my forte is what I will say. Thoughts, Tim?
So my 10-year-old would probably enjoy that.
Yes, that's certainly something a young person would enjoy. 32.510 from Matt Lamb there, so very close times there. Only about 8/100th difference, so going to be close quality there. Doug Wilson at the moment is 2/10 up. That's going to only put him up maybe 1 or 2 positions there for the 99 Porsche. Got a Ferrari behind him as well. Let's see what this is going to put him just about a 10.5 up. Okay, P21. It's good, solid lap. 34.5 and invalidated. Mia Rose now in a very lovely pink livery. And even the purple DRLs are really doing it well in the 909 Mercedes there. Currently sat P11, but is half a second up at the moment. Let's see where this is going to put her. Bit of traffic ahead, though. Hopefully it doesn't impede her too much.
Yes, the Mercedes is one of the old vehicles that has had a new lease of life with version 1.9.2. Interesting to see the pace that that car has got. It certainly appears to be handling a lot better. Very, very close to running off track limits there, coming through now with a half second up, putting into 9th position.
Yeah, that's... Ooh, lost it a bit. Wow, running the brake bias a really long way back with low ABS there. Interesting tactic there as Rose pulls off the track. After setting that 33, one on board now. Alex Pass was there. Ferris Stanley's 4/10 up. 5. Okay, someone said a 31. It was there on the Delta. That is insane. And he might actually pull this off. Hang on a minute. Let's keep on board with this. If this is a 31, that is going to be something I have not witnessed. What can he do here? Oh my goodness me.
Still gaining time. This is going to be a record breaker, I'm thinking.
Everyone get your popcorn out for this. But just lost a bit on exit. But I think he's still going to hold the 31. That's disgraceful. That's hats off to Ferris Stanley. A 31.9. That is absolutely insane. I don't think we have words for that.
Authority is about the only word I can think of coming to mind.
Yep. Yes, that's just... I said there wouldn't be one, and I admit I was wrong. That's ridiculous. I can't think of any other words to describe it, to be perfectly honest with you.
And Britt
And
would
he
be
still had
wondering,
time in it.
and Britt's just going to be wondering here with a 133 flat, and he's a second off the pace.
Yeah. I think a lot of drivers are going to be sitting there going, excuse me? There's a 31 being done by a driver. What am I reading? As Herbert just lost the time there in his Aston Martin Maddox here. Still even a 33.007. Just did a 33.022 before down into the final corner. That's a livery as well. Look at that.
But then we also take a look at the split times here. There is less than 1/10 between 6 cars.
Yeah, that's a very big lead at the front there, and then just very close apart from the sort of top two. It's great to see.
And fourth position there with Waru, I believe it is, our first Pro-Am. Doing a great job to get up into the mix.
You did better pronunciation there than I would have, I can tell you that. Sean Madison on board here now. Second off the pace, but we're going to ignore that because that's a ridiculous lap. 10th up now, almost going to 10th and a half, looking to the 32s at the moment. This could really bring him up the charts. Let's see what he can do. Lovely livery there. Look at that. Let's see what he can pull off. Good exit there. Oh, even lost a touch of time. Don't know how that happened. But still the 10th up. Still can be in the 32s here. Needs a 10th to get up to P5. Needs a bit more to get past that. Goes a bit wide. So that's going to be a bit of time lost, but still has some time in the final corner and knows he's got some time through that final sector as a whole. So if he can still pull the 32 out here, I know he'd appreciate that. And he might go faster, but it won't be enough for a 32 just yet. So he's going to have to wait on that one. Still, improving is key. P7 now still. And that's someone in the wall by the looks at it on the exit. It is. It's a Ferrari. 16 car on board with Wilco Preciado. I'm going to say that's pronounced. I could be completely wrong and butchering it all. I do apologise if that's what I've just gone and done in the Coca-Cola liveried Porsche for DTS Motorsport Pro-Am class. Currently sat sort of midfield in the Pro-Am class, but still a good effort so far. Just under 2 minutes to go now. He's 6/10 up though, so there's going to be a lot of improvement here. At the moment on a 34.2. Let's see where this improvement's going to put him. Nice braking point to the final corner. Just a bit screwed on exit, but it's kind of expected in the Porsche. Let's see where this goes. P13, 1.5 off the pace. Good little group there. 1.5 off, 1.6 off Mia Rose now. 1.1 off the pace, but we're going to stay on board. Currently sat P9 with that 33.0 or 33.1 that we saw there coming down through the last little bit of the middle sector. The Mercedes is just absolutely eating the curb there. Coming through now, tricky part of the corners. As I say, that is a Lambo in the wall, so you know it's tricky. That was John Carter, in fact, in the Lambo there. James Lorenz puts in a time, a 30. I've missed it. I was reading it and I missed it. That's okay. We'll keep going. So, what are your thoughts on this, Tim? This is a cracking quali session.
I am stunned by the top two.
Yeah.
Matthew Lamb's time I thought was going to be number one for sure, and Stanley just smashed it. But it's good to see a good spread of cars. A little gaggle of Lambos in there, but we've got all manufacturers sitting in the top 10. So this is going to be a fantastic race in front of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Regan Herbert there, 33.0. Ferris Stanley's, you see, 31.9. I don't think anyone can fathom those times. That's okay. He still had a bit of time in it too from the lap that I saw. Currently, provisional pole and the session is over, so he will be on pole no matter what time he's posting now. Matt Lamb, P2 there, 3, almost 4/10 off. Then Vic Chan, P3. Mia Rose now is a 10th up here, so could look to shake up the grid a little bit if she can pull this one off. Let's see what can be done here. Nice run through the chicane there. Still a 10th up, lost a couple of hundredths through there, but that's okay. Let's see. Ooh, Nice run through there, using all the track, touch of the dirt as well, just to keep the car nice and calm. Good run, used the curb, no bumping on the suspension, which is great to see. Let's see what she can pull off. 2 tenths up now. This will put her fairly up high. Might even put a top 5 if she can just keep this one nice and careful. Inside, good run. Almost 3 tenths up now. It is 3 tenths up. Let's see what's going to put us. It's going to be a 32. She can just pull this one together for the final corner. Sticks it down into second. Doesn't need first. Oh, a bit screwy on exit. It's going to lose a bit of time. She's going to go up to the top 5. And does P4 with a 32.807. What a great time there. Steve Lewis now. 34.6 is going to be 2 tenths up into the final corner. Let's see. This can get... Oh, and loses the rear, so that's going to lose a bit of time. Did a 34.687. Let's see if he's still up on that. Don't know. But Ferris Stanley on pole with a 31.9. That's no words and no rain for the next 30 minutes, so drivers will be looking out for that one. What do you think, Tim?
I think the guys will be glad looking at that weather forecast at the moment. They'll be quite pleased. They can get the start of this race. They don't have to be too focused on pit stops or strategies. It's a 70-minute race, 2 mandatory pit stops. Both pit stops require tyre changes. We did see a couple of guys last night make that mistake doing a pit stop for fuel without tyres. So this one, the guys need to focus now, get the first lap out of the way. I'm not going to make a comment. I did commentator's crease last night. So let's take a look at these liveries.
Yes, let's do that. As we see, Ferris Stanley, of course, on pole in that BS Plus competition livery. Matt Lamb there, P2. What a lovely livery that is. Let's just go through. Let's not even say who they are. Let's just have a look at them. Lovely Porsche livery. Love the orange Lambo, I must say. That's brilliant. Nice logo. Mia Rose there. Wow, there's a lot going on that one. Look at the gold on this one. Nice sleek Honda livery there. Another OES car. Lovely livery there for Regan Herbert. Paul Britt on the left. I love that blue. That's lovely. Another nice blue. People have outdone themselves with these liveries this season. Wow. That looks like a very angry man.
But hats off to all the people involved in creating these liveries. It is an art in itself, believe me.
Yes, it is one thing that I've tried and I've given up on because it's just a lot of effort. I love the green on the bottom of that Lambo. That was lovely. And look at purple and blue. There's JC's livery, Jamie Conboy, as his daughter Kira's name, saying that she drew it. What a lovely memento. Is that memento the right word? Look at the unicorn pony thing. I don't know my animals. Sega. Has this person they've put themselves on the side of the livery? That's awesome. That's a great idea.
Oh, I don't think anyone wants to see my ugly mug driving around the track.
Oh, there's the 9 Cat livery. Oh, an M&M livery. Oh, that's brilliant. That's class. Love the simplicity of that Ferrari one. As the safety car moves off, that's Ray-Ban Ferrari. Wow, there's some nice liveries. Of course, there will be voting opening at the end of the splits this evening. You can vote for best livery, best driver of the day, sorry, is what I'm looking for, best of the rest, and there's another one that escapes me. What that is, I cannot remember.
The most respectful driver.
Yes, sportsmanship, that's the one.
So, Mitch, what's going through the head right now as they go around a full course warm-up lap? What are you thinking?
Well, if you're Ferris Stanley, all you need is a good start. If you're Matt Lamb, you also need a good start and need to put all the pressure in the world on Stanley. if you're all the other drivers, you're thinking, okay, there's no rain coming. What's my strategy? And to be honest, there's no one strategy that drivers will take. They'll all have their own strategy. And to be honest, I don't think there's an optimal strategy in a 70-minute race with 2 pit stops. 1 pit stop, yes, there's probably an optimal one, but 2 pit stops with mandatory tyres, it's up to the driver. Are they going to go for it for 15 minutes, kill the tyres and pit? Are they going to try and keep it going a bit longer with this new tyre model and save the tyres for the first 5-10, then go for it? You don't really know, and it's not the best track for overtaking. So I think for most drivers, it's let's get going. Let's see where we end up. Try not to have any incidents. Hopefully I haven't jinxed it.
I think keep it on the black stuff.
evaluate.
The amount of drive-throughs we saw last night was incredible, and all due to track limits.
Yeah, I think a lot of people actually, especially at this track, underestimate how easy it is to get a track limit warning, let alone a drive-through. There's so many places where even if you just go slightly too far off, take too much curb, hit the grass too much, it's a warning. As okay. Don't know what that Mercedes was just doing.
Taking out a brake marker, I would say.
That's not a brake marker, thankfully, but yeah, that's certainly interesting.
But the guys are going to find out the track limits because they won't get the bonuses that they would have got last night in the wet races. The game does give you a little bit of compensation when it's wet, so they will be very vicious tonight.
Oh, absolutely. As we come up to the start-finish straight, Ferris Stanley P1, Matt Lamb P2 for the front row, Vic Chan and Mia Rose on the second row. As we get ready to go green here, and we've gone green. Good start from Ferris Stanley. Matt Lamb was a little bit far back, I think, but he's going to stick it there. Mia Rose straight past Vic Chan. Great start. Sean Madison to the outside. That could already be a warning there. Lambo going to get past. That's Maddox. Sticks it there. Herbert there nicely. Just got a good start. No real argy-bargy so far. A lot of use of the outside curb through turn 2, 3, whatever you want to call it. As we come down now to the fast left-hander before the hairpin. This is one that sort of deceives a lot of people. You've got to scrub off a bit more speed than you think. So we see Regan Herbert. He's just trying to attack Sean Madison in the Honda now. Got a slightly worse exit. Madison sticking the nose in there on Maddox. Let's see what he can do. Put a bit of pressure on. Vic Chan didn't get the world's best start. Going to get backed up a bit here is Madison. Herbert looks to the outside. Madison's got to defend the inside, but of course, where Herbert is in a great position. It's going to turn into the inside of the second part of the chicane unless Madison can block him off, and he can't. Gives him the racing room, but Herbert didn't see it coming, so he had to back out and just sticks back to where he was before. So it's great first lap. No real instance. A couple of drivers off at the back there. No safety car called though, so doing better than a couple of the splits yesterday.
Yes, I'm not going to make a comment in regards to the performance of anyone at this stage in case I jinx the race, but everyone doing very cautious here. No one willing to push it. This is lap 1. Let's just get the cars settled in. Let's get the tyres up, the brakes up to temp. And of course Stanley with a 136.7 straight off the bat on lap 1 and almost a second up over Matt Lamb.
Yeah, that's insane. Ferris Stanley is not hanging around. Mia Rose is going to be on the back of Matt Lamb. Ferris is going to want that because then Mia can put all the pressure in the world on Lamb and then Ferris can just run away. Bettiger now, nice run through there, coming down to the long straight for the fast left-hander, of course. Let's see how he takes this. Holds fourth. Just lifts up a bit, gets the rotation that he needs. Down that hairpin. Oh, Paul Britt really late on the brakes there in that McLaren. Just trying to get all the car around the track. A couple of drivers have pitted already, as we see John Sneakers in the chat. JC got murdered. Hairpin. This is not great. DG dead on the hairpin wall. So we're seeing some drivers already having some issues. Lots of respect by Sean Madison, says Pat Oliver. I do agree, that was some great respect there with Regan Herbert. So we have a look now back to Jamie Comboy down that hairpin that John Sonicus was just talking about. Let's have a look. Dive down the inside. Oh, that's that one's not going to buff out.
Yeah, the mechanics will have a little bit of work to do in getting that one back. Those barriers, they may look like straw, but they are built from concrete.
Yeah, certainly. That was Daniel Gray, I believe, there as well. 32.7 already. Straight off the bat, Ferris Stanley's not hanging around. 1.2 in front of Lamb. Lamb's pulled the gap 1.1 to Rose. Chan's a second off. So a bit of a gap opening up there. Top four. Maddox still trying to hold on. Sean Madison's there as well. Herbert's still giving Madison all the pressure in the world. Bit of a slide there from the Honda, but pulls it up nicely. Look at that spectacle. All the cars just come around there.
Herbert Madison is a battle from last series. Those two were at most rounds. And again, we found this is where it comes down to. You may have pace at some sections of the track, but you need pace somewhere where you can make the overpass. Or will he choose, getting frustrated, he could choose to take an early pit stop to try and get some clear traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. The issue... Oh, Pisciato off the track. That's a big bonk in the wall. Sabiras, 10-second penalty, causing collision on lap one. Oh, that's who that incident with Jamie Conboy would have been. I got the liveries wrong. No, I had liveries right. Ignore me. I'm losing it. That's okay, though. Pisciato's probably going to have to pit with damage. I do believe the pit window actually isn't open yet, so anyone who has pitted...
30 seconds.
Ooh.
So
Yep.
at 105 minutes, it'll open.
Perfect. So an hour, 5 minutes left. As Tim stated there, it will open, so we might even see some drivers duck in early for an interesting strategy. They'll just have to pray that it doesn't rain. Still half an hour on the weather, still dry, so drivers will have 30. That's insane. That's faster than the average person's quali lap. Average person, an alien's quali lap. That's insane.
The only thing that is going to slow that BMW down at the moment will be lapped traffic. I can't. It's just. I haven't got words to explain the pace that car's got at this stage.
Oh, yes. It's just unbelievable there. I think it's a bit of an underestimated car. And here we go. Once again, Madison and Herbert. Madison's kept the same wheels as he did last season. Herbert's decided to switch his Ferrari out for an Aston. Interesting choice. I just can't get used to seeing him in it. I asked him why, and he said because. So good enough reason, I guess.
Change is as good as a holiday.
That's exactly right. Oh, nice run through there. So gaps have brought it out a little bit. Currently 2.5 seconds to Lamb. P2 there is Stanley. Rose is 7/10 off. Vic Chan's not too far off Rose. Still just trying to keep in contact there. Here's Adam Falconer now. Is a 10th, or was a 10th off Sabiras. Sabiras looks like to pull out a bit of a gap. Is now attacking Vediga, I believe, in the Coca-Cola liveried car. Shane McClaw's getting attacked by Doug Wilson. Let's see what can be done here. Just putting a bit of pressure on. Touch the curb beautifully, but as you'll see, Doug just can't get past. There's not a lot of room on the track, and that Lamborghini, as I discovered yesterday, is ridiculous off corner exits. Oh, I say that. He's found a bit of room. Can he chuck it down the inside and get the move done? And I reckon he does. Oh, but bit of a bump on the exit, but does still pull it up. That's brilliant work.
And that's one of the few sections of the track that you can make a successful pass.
Why do I feel like that's the only section?
Oh, there is also coming out of Fullscreen chicane. If you can get a good traction coming out of there and get a overpass coming through Hilltop into Hislops and Nickelback is also another section where you can get a successful pass, but it really comes down to the car in front of you having bad corner exit speed.
Yes, a couple of overtaking opportunities there. We've seen a couple of cars actually come out of the pits already for the first mandatory pit stop for tyres. Interesting strategy from those, because in my opinion you might actually get stuck in traffic, so you could lose more time there by pitting early and getting stuck behind some people who will fight for position. And even though they're pit stop down, they still technically have a right to. You're on the same lap, you're in the same similar positions. John Sabiras there in his Porsche, just a little bit wide on the exit, getting rid of the bump from the curbs. Got Falconer on him. Matt Lamb's actually taken fastest lap of the race now, 32.505. So maybe Ferris Stanley might see that and just amp it up a bit more, or just hold steady, because he's still got that good gap. Adam Falconer still trying to put the pressure on Sabiras, who's got that's Vediger ahead of him, and Scarney behind Falconer here. Not putting too much pressure on, but just lurking there to say, hey, I'm here. I want to try and benefit from this battle. If you make a mistake, that's a little bit wide there from Scarney, so that could be a track limit warning. I think that might have even been a bit of a flash from Scarney there, unless that's just the game and it's pretty graphics, I don't know. But we'll see.
Few of the cars would be stretching the limits coming around through turn 3 through Cascade. But interesting point here for doing the calculations, 47 seconds for a pit stop from entrance to exit.
Some good calculations there. So any drivers listening in, that gives you an idea where you're going to come out, even though I'm sure none of them are listening in because they're too busy driving. Here's Ray Smith now in the 27.296 Ferrari. It's not saying 296. I can't believe we're saying that after God knows how long we're waiting for this car. It's actually here.
Yes, and as he say welcome to the Porsche Cup, as Smith is looking up at a string of Porsches in front of him. I think there's 5 of them in front of him.
Oh,
at the
wow.
moment.
Yeah, that's its own class. Yep, Ferris Stanley responds 32.4, just a casual. Yeah, why not? So we see now Ray Smith just making a couple of mistakes. Cook there at 14 McLaren in the AM class. He's looking to come through, won't go for the dive though. Does hold back. It's good sportsmanship there. Oh, good exit though from the McLaren. But then the Lambo's just going to pull it away nicely. George Cook here has got Shane McClaws behind him and Smith ahead of him. That's probably why Smith's having issues. He's got damage in the rear. You can see all the scraping there. Oh, bit of a bump there. That's okay. 35.4 best lap for Cook so far. Oh, that's Jordan Sabiras. Has he spun? Yes, he has. I thought he disconnected. He has just had a moment there in his Porsche. And he's got a 10 seconds. So that's not going to help him either. It's okay. There's still 2 pit stops to go.
But I would not want to be any Smith or Coke sitting at the back here where those Porsches are going to make it difficult to pass, let alone having 4 or 5 of them in front of you.
Oh, no, yeah, I definitely don't envy that person. And I don't envy the person who I saw almost in the wall at the fast left-hander. We saw that just on the edge of screen before. Here is Ferris Stanley, though. 32.4 fast laps, just doing 32.4s now. Matt Lamb's doing 32.5.6s, just, you know, casually going faster than some quali laps. Why not? Mia Rose just did her fastest lap of the race, 33.027. Regan Herbert almost just gave Sean Madison a bit of a kiss in the rear there. That's why he made the mistake now. 33.057 fastest lap for Regan Herbert. Really just, I think might be getting a little bit impatient here with Sean Madison, but Madison is defending him extremely well, doing very well to take the pressure on the shoulders and just shrug it off. Let's have a look at the fast left hand. Jesus, that Aston is on rails, judging by the way it drove through there. Pushing every single bit of the car that he's got, Herbert. A little bit wide on exit. Honda got the better exit. But the Aston's going to be better over the curves. Is he going to absolutely monster them? Yes, he does. He monstered even more through there. But still just can't get that exit on the Honda because of the turbo lag of that silly Aston.
And the attitude of that Honda, it is well and truly planted on the road. This is going to be a lot of work for Herbert. He is going to have to pray that Madison makes a slight error.
And he's
going to have a long day in the saddle. Yeah.
Yes, yep. Almost a commentator's curse for Herbert. Shane McClaws now for Alliance Motorsport 42 Lamborghini is trying to get on the back of George Cook still, trying to get past. Still behind Ray Smith. Doug Wilson's also just trying to get his head in on this one. See what he can do. Good use of the curb. A little bit of bounce, but got it through smoothly. Good run through to the final sector. Let's see how they go through the fast double right. This is a very tricky corner. It doesn't look so bad from afar, but you actually get in the car, and there's the mistake from Cook that McClaws is looking for. Doug Wilson's even going to capitalise on this one. Pulls across. And that is unfortunate for Cook. Loses 2 positions in the space of a corner. That is not what he wanted.
And the guys would be relieved a little bit to see that we have got clear weather for the next 30 minutes. So we should be looking for a clear race. But yes, Druids is classified as one of the toughest corners on this track. The car always wants to drift out to the left and the corner tightens up on you, so it is a little bit of a sneak.
Yeah, definitely a sneak here. One Ethan Callard saying something else to consider is pressure loss in the rear left. It depends how hard some people attack these corners. How was the Fez last night? Well, the Fez was fine. Didn't have much pressure loss at all. I think what most of the drivers actually need to consider is not necessarily pressure loss in the rear left. It's just pressure loss in general, because hitting the curbs too hard, especially in the wet, but obviously it's not raining here at the moment. Although Carter just acted as if it was raining. Just had a bit of a moment there in the OES, the Lamborghini 559. That's okay.
Lamborghini thinking doing a bit of a Porsche movement there, trying to get some different blood into it.
Yeah, absolutely. As Cook's hitting some more of that curb, really showing how dangerous it is if you go slightly too wide on that curb. Here's Steve Lewis in the Ferrari, and Avid saying, don't think the Fezzer likes the curbs around here. Well, that's not strictly true. Just depends which curbs, because there are some curbs it definitely doesn't like. Or you just got to hit the sweet spot and it's perfect. You see a couple of drivers in the Ferrari are actually actively avoiding curbs, which is fair enough. You want to avoid the pressure loss, don't destroy the tyre too much and get the most pace out of them as possible. Completely valid strategy.
Drive-through, which
that will be track limits.
And has already completed one stop. So that is a double punishment.
Yes, we see a couple of the drivers down there. Paul Britt, Jordan Spiros, Wilke Preciado, Daniel Gray have all completed one mandatory pit stop already. This is a Ferrari round. Who's this? Alexander Barrelin or Barrelin? I don't really know how that's pronounced, so sorry to Alexander. Let's see what happened here. Curb, yep. And there's a curb that you shouldn't hit in the Ferrari. Oh, that was good awareness from the other Ferrari, but just couldn't quite keep it out of the rear end of it.
Yes,
and there's another tap there just at the end.
Very much a wake-up moment there for the Ferrari going around and having a car sideways in front of you. As we ride aboard now with Pettibridge. And Mercedes is sitting well on the track. And it's interesting to see how the guys have set their cars up and looking at their attitude of the cars. This is very, very bumpy track, which still gets me that it's a go-kart track. I do not want to put my butt that close to the ground on something with no suspension.
Yeah, that's definitely... You won't have a spine at the end of the race. I can tell you that if you're in a go-kart. That is not ideal, as we just see Chad Pettibridge in the M&M's Racing Mercedes, number 76. Currently just battling Neil Wood there, who's got a penalty. As James Lorenz now, currently sat P25 in the AM class. I think that's, what's that, fourth in AM class? If there's no AM driver up in the top 12, which there might be. I just can't see that at the moment. Doing well, though. Currently fighting with Kedemos or Kedemos. There's so many new names, Tim. I'm a bit confuzzled.
I'm going to go with you on that one. Kedemos.
Kedemos, yeah. We'll go with that.
But James Lawrence at the moment in the Midas Grey Lynn Ferrari. Battling it out with Kadidos. And Mick Crick just behind these two, 2.5 seconds off. He's a little bit slow this season. Is he just maybe not adjusting to the changes for version 1.9?
Yes, I think the 1.9 changes brought a couple of people to grief, having to change the way they drive and keep it a bit smoother than they possibly may have done in 1.8. So just see Lorenz still now trying to fight with Kademos. Just can't quite get there, as Falcon has had a bit of a moment through the double right. Let's see what's happened here. Maybe a bit too much curb, maybe a bit of a slide, or none of the above. Yeah. Wow, that's certainly one to watch out for. I got caught out once last night as well. Just going a touch wide, hitting the grass and having a bit of a slide. As we see Maddox here, really just trying to keep on the back of Vic Chan now. Has been sat here the whole race, 32.9 fastest lap for him. Which is great to see, just keeping that gap between Madison and Herbert, who are still battling after almost 20 minutes into this race, which is incredible to see as they come through the last part of the middle sector. Keeps it off the curb nicely. Mia Rose is in her own little bubble at the moment. 3.3 to Lamb and 2 seconds to Chan. So she's in a bit of clean air to make her strategy decisions early and work out when she's going to pit, what fuel she needs, where to go from here. Still no rain appearing on the weather, which the drivers will appreciate, I'm sure.
We will be coming up to some blue flag markers very, very shortly in the next few laps, looking at that track map.
Yeah, there will be some blue flags, of course. Some of them will be people pitting. Some of them will be people that have just had an unfortunate race up to this point. Max there still just trying to keep on the back of Chan. Got a better run through there. Chan really messed that up because Maddox is right there now. Let's see how they go fast left-hander. Chan's going to have to back out of this one, and he does. There's good awareness there, but still wants to attack. Might stick to the outside if possible. Go for a switch back, but can't get it done. Maddox cut that one off easy. Really good move there from Maddox. Love it.
And that just goes to show the one car makes a slight error. You have to be on the power. You take full advantage of any slight error on this track to make the pass.
Yes, exactly right. We've asked, how is car 14 doing, please? Can we get a car 14 check?
That is Cook in the McLaren, currently sitting in 18th position, and he's on the back of Wilson in the Porsche.
Oh, great stuff. Right on the back of a Pro. Be very happy with that one. Currently leading the AM class, in fact. So, class leaders at the moment. Ferris Stanley in Pro P1 anyway, so it doesn't matter. Matt Lamb there, P2. Mia Rose, P3. Then you've got... Oh, you can pronounce this last name, Tim, because you did it perfectly fine before.
Weru
sounds good to me in Pro-Am Class P1. Sean Bubnow sat in P2 in Pro-Am and Johnson there in the Honda. In fact, great stuff from him. Stuck's probably not the word I'd use. Sat is more what I was looking for in P3 in Pro-Am Class. And you've got George Cook there, Am Class P1, Payne P2, and Kademos in P3. So fairly... closely sat between all the classes so far. Nice little row of Pro-Ams, then Ams, then Pros as well. So really well done to whoever did the class ratings. It's genius.
Cook having a great drive as their leading Am. He has a 9-second margin over Wilson, who's just gone into the pits. And we see Madison come into contact there with Chan. That did not look pretty.
Yeah, let's just have a look and see what happened. So, blue flag getting out of the way. Let's see what Madison did. Just stuck it up the inside. Yeah, just couldn't quite pull that one off. But still going. No real damage, I'd say, for Chan. Just probably a bit of damage on the dignity. That's okay. Still... P8, he might even take this as an opportunity to pit now.
And Herbert, after coming through the pits, is now on fresh set of rubber and coming up on the back of Lorenz.
Yep, so nice little battle group going on here, even though Herbert is a pit stop ahead, and Lorenz still going to fight this position. Herbert will not be... Oh, does pull out. Okay. That's a fair call there from Lorenz. People probably sitting there going, why is he doing that? That's okay. He's got a 10-second penalty, and he's got an extra pit stop to do on Herbert. So he's just going to let him pass. Doesn't want to lose any time to anyone else. He's going to lose time letting him pass, but it could be more time lost if he doesn't let him pass. And now Paul Britt's going to be in a similar situation as Lorenz going to let him pass. We'll have to wait and see. Still no rain on the radar, so I think we're going to keep it dry for the rest of this race as Lorenz makes it a bit harder for Paul Britt to get past, but he does get past. Maybe Lorenz will take this opportunity to jump into the pits, and judging by the line, I'm going to go with yes, and does. So we'll see some drivers pit now. Stanley's pit, Chan's pit, Smith's pit, Falconer's pit. Matt Lamb still yet to pit, currently in P1 of those that haven't pit yet. Mia Rose is the same. Herbert here now. Kademos in front. Is he going to let him pass? Paul Britt just using the rally line. Not too sure what the go there was. Maybe just a bit of a bump.
And this is the advantage or disadvantage at the moment for the pit stops about where they come out in traffic. Herbert having a battle earlier. This could be advantage or disadvantage subject to the separation between the two pit stops.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it benefits those. Kademos is not letting Herbert pass, and Herbert is not enjoying this one. And yeah, okay.
Just looking at Madison now in the pits, and it will be where Herbert comes out in comparison to where Madison exits the pits to see whether he has made an advantage from his early stop.
Well, he did have that collision. Whoa, hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's, wow, okay. And he's just disconnected by the looks of that. Oh, he's back now. He had a bit of a moment there, did the Ferrari, but that's okay. Kademos just, oh, whoa.
Bit of work
Whoa,
for
whoa,
the
whoa,
stewards
whoa,
there, I
whoa,
think.
whoa. Herbert's just hit a wall. What's happened there? Wheels disconnected. Looking at that.
It is a malfunction of some description.
Yep. Oh, I'll ask him what happened. That's okay. Ferris Stanley at the moment's actually lost out to Matt Lamb, so this is great stuff from Lamb. Stayed out that little bit longer. Ferris Stanley's going to give absolutely no, what's the word, mercy. There we go, I got there. So Lamb's just played the game perfectly. I think Stanley might have gotten stuck in a bit of traffic, so that's where he may have gone wrong in comparison to Lamb. He just stuck it out that little bit longer, came out in clean air and kept on lapping, and it's come out ahead of Stanley now. So even with a silly, stupid 31.9 quality time doesn't mean you're always going to be P1 the whole race. As we see, Daniel Gray gets a 10-second time benefit. Jumping the start. Okay. I haven't seen one of those yet.
And we've had a request to ask how car 201 is doing on their debutante run this evening. If we could just have a slide down the scale to see where car 201 is sitting.
Here we are, car 201, Ben Thomas, Rebel Alliance Racing in the Porsche, currently sat P27, has done a pit stop though, so there may be still a couple of positions for him to gain. Currently fighting with Lorenz at the moment. Good stuff, putting all the pressure on. Love the DRLs on that car too. Very nice.
And we're looking at the amateur guys all banked up in a group here, although Lorenz does have a margin over Thomas and Crick. And Cook continues to extend his lead. He is now a good jump ahead of Kademos. And Doug Wilson now in the 9 Rugus Porsche. Currently sitting on the back of Wilson and battling it out for 19th position. And we've also got Falconer sitting on the back of this pack as well. So 3-car battle at the moment. With also Carter wanting to get into this mix.
Yes, 4-car battle going on here now. Everyone's just saying, who's going to make the mistake first? I think is what a couple of the drivers are thinking about their strategy. They've all done one pit stop now, one left in the next 42.5 minutes. So you probably won't see anyone pit, I dare say, for probably 10 to 12 minutes. Then after that, it's free game, because I think everyone will try and use this middle stint as long as possible and try and save the pace for the end on the slightly more rubbered up tyres with more grips. You see Doug Wilson still just trying to fight Carter, but Carter is holding on for dear life, really putting that pressure on Wilson. Can he force the mistake out? Not yet. but still driving brilliantly to fight for P19.
But they are pushing the limits here. They're all going to be looking at some track cuts at this stage, looking at the width. They can't put their tyres over that white line, and that is pretty well comparison to all the corners on here. You cannot get your inside tyres off of the black stuff.
Yeah, it's fairly strict track limits here if you're not careful, especially through turn 1. Right-hand side tyres, a little bit far off the curb. There's your warning. Through here as well, too much curb. Yep, there's a warning. Same with the exit out of the double right-hander. Wow. Almost hit Waru as well. That's very well saved there from Brett.
And now we see the Lambo up the inside and does the move.
Yeah, that's a car that hasn't pitted yet, though. Steve Lewis is backed out because he's going to pit. That's going to have lost him some time. So, just have to keep an eye on that.
Right.
Matt Lamb's pulling out now from Ferris Stanley, still fighting, though. So, we just have to see whose strategy prevails here in the next 40 minutes. Because unless Stanley pulls something out here, I don't see him really getting past Lamb just because of the sheer size of that M4.
Yes, and it's not like Matt Land to make a mistake. The only advantage here could be, well, they've got clean air in front of them, so there's no back markers or any other traffic to interfere with this battle. So Stanley is just going to have to be content on sitting behind the Porsche at this stage.
Yeah, just going to have to sit there, put all the pressure on, wait for the mistake. Mia Rose is 11 seconds behind, so they've really not got anything to worry about in terms of a threat behind them at the moment, because Maddox is right on the back of Rose as well. 3/10 I saw in that last sector, and now he's dropped a second. So I don't know what's happened there, but that's okay. Stanley's dropped back, excuse me, a bit, makes a couple of mistakes. That'll be a warning. So maybe he's having to back off a little bit because he's got some warnings. Maybe Lamb doesn't. We don't know. At least I don't know. I'm sure someone in chat might have information we don't. As Lamb goes wide.
As Lamb goes wide there.
Yeah.
But we are mid-race now, so we're halfway through. This is basically just getting the job done. No one's stretching the limits again there. Probably Stanley just going, I'll just sit on these set of tyres. I'll sit here, burn off some time. I know I've got the pace. We'll push hard come the pit stop. Burn the rest of these tyres out, fresh set of tyres, and then go hard at the end, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a bit of mind games even between these two, just to see who blinks first, who's got the better times, who's going to do what. As we see.
Well, they could also be guessing who's going to be the first one to take a drive-through for track limits.
I would hope that neither of them. That's what I would hope.
And if they continue to push outside the white lines, so they don't want to be pushing themselves too hard, especially if they've already got 1 or 2 track cuts. They would be very, very nervous.
Absolutely, they would be. I mean, two track cuts, even 3 track cuts this midway into the race is very much a concern because you've got to keep it clean for the next 40 minutes, which is not an ideal situation for any driver.
And the bumps and lumps on this track when you're in a battle like this makes it even more difficult. It is very, very challenging. I would put it up as one of the most challenging circuits or technical circuits on ACC.
I'd put it as one of the most rage-infuriating tracks on ACC.
It's the perfect game of golf.
Yeah, it's just so minute mistakes. You're losing tenths. There's a track limit. There's a silly curb that's ruined your car that didn't ruin it last lap. It's certainly not a track for the faint-hearted or the impatient or anyone that's ever so slightly angry.
But next week is Watkins Glen. I think everyone will be glad to get to something that's a little more flowing.
I'm not. I don't like Watkins. I'll be the first to say it. I think I may have upset a few people with that, but it's true. I don't like it.
I love it. I'm just not fast at it.
I just don't like it.
We can see the attitude in the cars as they bounce up and down coming through here. And as we said earlier, in a go-kart with something that's got no suspension and your butt is 2 inches off the bitumen, this would be the most uncomfortablest ride I can even think of.
You need a pillow. Actually, maybe a pillow's not enough.
But the things wrap in, you would be bruising your kidneys, you'd be bruising your coccyx. You would be black and bruised.
Everything is bruised. You need bandages, ice packs, massages, all of it. Get all of it. Get them all there to the track. Because after one lap, you need to come in for a pit stop and get yourself sorted out.
The pass pushing really hard on to Johnson here, trying to find a way to get this Ferrari past the Honda.
Yeah, that Honda's actually looking a little bit squirrely, in fact, and I've just noticed that for some reason Regan Herbert's in P11 when he should have been up further, so I'm interested to know if he's had maybe a bit of an incident at some point. Sean Madison, that incident that was had with Vic Chan earlier, no penalty as of yet. I think the stewards are contemplating life at the moment after the first lap straight into the wall. I think they definitely are contemplating. What are we telling me? What have I done?
Do tell.
I don't know what we're telling me.
Madison will be happy sitting in P5 at the moment, a little bit of clear space, having Herbert moved back downfield due to that earlier collision. But he's got space both forward and backwards, so he's have to be making some decisions now about what he's going to do for the closing sections of this race. Trying to get some fresh rubber and maybe some hay.
I forgot about that. I really have lost it, haven't I?
That was Regan in the wall.
Yeah, that's my fault. And Ethan Cale's been told he just made SRO. Very good. Oh, he's going to come and race against me again, for goodness sake. I can't get away from this guy, bro. So we see now, Doug Wilson's just trying to attack Ray Smith. Hasn't gotten too far into it. Ray Smith still does have that damage and hasn't repaired it in the pit stop, so maybe it's not affecting him too much.
Matty Lamb still holding a margin at the moment with half a second over Stanley. Rowe's got clear space with 13 seconds behind. Further jump behind is Maddox in clear space as well as Madison. Wero, Britt, Budnow, Chan and Vediger all round out our top 10.
Yeah, and good close battles with Siwaro. At the moment, he's still leading the Pro-Am class with Bub now sat in P2. Johnson there still in P3. Matt Lamb still ahead of Stanley, and they're still within half a second of each other, which is great to see as we see Regan Herbert is driving with a steering wheel that isn't straight.
And that would be the earlier contact with the wall that we saw.
Speaking of contact and wall, there's a car that's Spang. Yes, Spang is a word now.
That looks like it's still reasonably straight, so it may just have been a spin on the grass, doing a little bit of gardening out there. We're now sitting with Matty Lamb, who's holding the lead of this race, but we know the pace of that BMW. Stanley will be trying to work out strategy now. When do they take the pit stop, where they can make the advantage, how they can get back in front of that Porsche.
Yes, definitely. As we see, Regan Herbert looks to the outside of Vediger now. Went
Goes
for the switch
crisscross.
back. It's not in a good position for it, though.
Don't want to be on the outside there. There is a big bump right there.
Yep, and he found it, and it's not going to get the exit on that Ferrari either because turbo lag exists. He does hit the dirt, though, and goes for a bit of a four-wheel drive, but Vediger didn't get the greatest exit either, I must say. That's not a sentence, that's okay. Oh, just trying to make use of that, I say make use of it, deal with the damaged suspension is probably what he's done there.
You need to have a fantastic lead out of Cascade to try and get through Islands Bend and into Shell Oil's corner. You need to at least be up alongside the car in front of you if you want to make a move in that section of the track.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see, I think that's a blue flag car ahead. That looks like Jamie Conboy's livery. I'm going to assume that it is. Oh, Herbert doing well to just hold the car together with this damage. So just over half an hour left. It's still dry on the weather, so a fully dry race. The drivers will be absolutely praying to the Lord that that is the case, because I bet you some of these drivers didn't really want to be driving in the wet.
And they will have the advantage if they have made any slight errors or misjudgments in their pressures. They can set that for the last stint of this race, and they will be able to have their car fine-tuned to get the best possible run home now.
Absolutely. Still holding on, doing his best. Might have a couple of warnings, judging by the way that car's driving. Just getting a much better run than the Ferrari through turn one. Not sure how that is so. Got a better run onto the straight as well. So Vedica looks like to maybe struggling a little bit. I wonder if he was on the earlier pitters as Herbert gets down the inside. Vedica scared.
On the wrong side here. He had to pull out of it again. And Carter looks like he's just... no, Smith is dropping back. There's off track maybe.
Yes, Fezza. Regan did continue with the damage that he got after slamming the wall. Oh, outside Regan. He tried to pull this one on Sean Madison earlier. Let's see if we can pull it off again. And I'm going to go with no. I would be correct. Gets a bit of a push and shove from Vediga there, but there was no room really left to spare, so that's fair racing play on umpire.
Very respectful racing to go through there too wide, especially with Herbert carrying that damage. That car must be feeling like a boat at the moment.
Yeah, it's doing well.
No aero damage, even though his steering wheel is slightly down to the left. It's certainly got pace still in that Aston Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. Still doing well to extract the pace. Is definitely slower down on times 36 to that lap, but that will be the damage talking.
But then
and probably dead tyres.
Our top four cars all run a 32.8, 32.9, 32.9, 32.9. So very consistent for the top four cars at this stage.
Yeah, holding on as we see down in camera 2. The fight between Ferris Stanley and Matt Lamb for P1 still continues. Lamb still does have the fastest lap. After sending it off Stanley once again. Herbert's looking for the run but cannot get it done at the moment. Looks to it now. Vediga's moving to the inside again. Herbert's going to try this again. He knows how it ended last time, so maybe he's going to approach it a bit differently. Oh, Vediga's just shoved him off because he hit the curb. Herbert's not going to like that one. Looks to the inside for the switchback, but it's not going to be able to pull it off. Ooh, that's a unfortunate event there for Herbert. That's going to be even more damage to add. He actually let him past.
Takes him past.
Yeah, I think that's a sign of respect and also to say sorry. He didn't mean to do that. I think he knew that Herbert probably had that one undone. But that's okay. Still 28 minutes to go. 19 ambient, 26 degrees on track as we see Jamie Conboy is pitting. So you'll start to see some pitting now. Paul Britt's pitting now for the final pit stop, going for that half an hour final stint. You'll see some drivers not pit per se, another 10 minutes to do as little in their final stint as possible to absolutely send the car and get the most pace out of it. We will see who does that in the coming laps.
Matty Lamb and Stanley will be the ones that we're all watching at the moment. They will be trying to roll the dice to see who is going to... Well, Stanley is going to have to follow Lamb. I don't think that they can take advantage of potentially, unless they think they've got extra pace to try and get the overcut. That's going to be the one to watch.
Yes, it's certainly been quite the race so far, I must say. Someone saying, wow, no rain here. Yeah, surprisingly no rain. There's still another split to go, though, so you might still see rain.
It's almost like the perfect summer day here for the UK. It's very rarely that we get a full race through the British Isle without any weather.
Yeah, a bit unusual to see no rain in England land, as we see Regan Herbert still P8 at the moment. Of course, that will not stick as a couple of drivers will be pitting, so we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. We see Warrow will have pit as well, because I don't see him up in the top 8 anymore. Vic Chan's just jumped into the pits, so that's going to be another position for Herbert, but at the moment, I think Chan will still come out comfortably ahead. Herbert will probably look to not repair that damage in the pits as much as it'll be slowing him down, just so that he can keep the time up that he lost after some sort of whatever happened.
Herbert's still running with a 133.7, so while they're a second off the front runners, that's still competitive to remain well inside the top 10.
Absolutely, that's really good stuff with that. I dare say that's 20, easily probably 20 seconds of damage he's got there, so good stuff to be holding on to that. Vic Chan's just coming out of the pits now, on board with Eric Scarney, who's not too far off Alex Paz, however you pronounce it. In fact, so see Adam Falconer as well. It's just on the back of Doug Wilson in that Nyang Cat, however you like to pronounce it, livery. Very nicely done indeed. So we see Ferris Stanley still on the back of Lamb's. Just made a big mistake there. So Lamb needs to just capitalise on these little mistakes that Stanley's making, because then it's going to equal time. As you see, nearly a second is the gap now. Will Stanley look to pit earlier? Will he look to pit later than Lamb? We don't know. Lamb's just probably going to hold out for as long as possible. Will Stanley follow him? We don't know. We just need to hold out and see. Still 25 minutes. I don't really expect to see Lamb pitting. Maybe Stanley's going to pit if the tyres are going off, though.
They're taking a very aggressive line at the moment, Stanley, and that BMW taking plenty of curb through the chicane. So really trying to stay on the back of the Porsche.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing the job well to stay on the back. A couple of blue flags up ahead. They've got almost 14.5-second gap to Mia Rose. As we see Stanley just close to 3/10 magically out of nowhere. What a run. Fairly big gaps at the moment, though.
Mia Rose having a great drive. She's managed to maintain that margin in front of Maddox. She's got a good 4-second gap herself. So comfortably sitting in third.
Yes, good stuff from Mia Rose and the drivers in the top 10. Couple of big gaps there. Don't worry, they will fill out later on, as some drivers have pitted early for their final mandatory pit stop for tyres. As we see, Stanley's still pulling out 32s at this point in the race on probably slightly worn tyres, so maybe he's going to hold out and even try and take the fastest lap off him, because of course you get points for quali and the fastest lap and of course the race, but you get those minor points for fastest lap and quali, which of course in some championships can be all the difference. 1 or 2 points, 5 points, 3 points, who knows.
And that BMW looks like it's getting a little bit more harder to drive, a little bit of overcorrectness here and there going around through this corner, so we can see that the tyre life is starting to change the performance of these vehicles now.
Yeah, drivers probably in some cases still getting used to the new tyre model from 1.9. As we see Vic Chan here should be up in provisionally in the top 8, as Smith's going to let him pass, as Smith hasn't pit yet. It's Ray Smith's going to also let Lamb and Stanley pass. As Lamb almost hits him on the way through, but got through safely. That might have held him up slightly. I'm sure he won't care. Ray Smith may even take this opportunity to jump into the pits now, get those fresh set of tyres on, and see.
And everyone should be grabbing hard data now in these sprint races. We're only, I think, 2 or 3 weeks away from the 24-hour or the 12-hour Suzuka Enduro, which tyre life is going to have a big impact on that event,
yes.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. As we just saw a 10-second penalty there for Vic Chan being out of position on that one. So Stewart's still taking a good hard look at drivers on the start of the race, which is good to see, making sure to enforce the rules. We've got a new sporting code as well. If anyone wants to take a look at that, I believe it's on the website. I'm sure Mark can confirm that for us anyway.
John Carter for a penalty for out of position on lap 1.
Okay, so the penalty's starting to roll in now. So that's definitely going to affect some of the drivers and where they finish. If you've pitted already, Is that the best strategy to have pitted? Who knows? Adam Falcon, a 10-second out of position as well. So they're being very harsh to some drivers. They'll probably be questioning it after the race.
Bud now currently our leading Pro-Am, but he's yet to take his final pit stop. And Thomas is our leading amateur with, again, yet to take his pit stop. So Cook could potentially be the leading Am at this stage, having taken both of his stops.
Yeah, absolutely. Still anyone's game at the moment. Matt Lamb still in front. Ferris Stanley still P2. Mia Rose P3. 15-second gap there. Maddox P4. Madison P5. Bub now P6. These drivers are still yet to pit though. And there we go. Matt Lamb in the pits. Got held up on the entry though, so that could lose him some time. So Ferris Stanley needs to open up now. Maybe give it another 2 laps, because pitting the lap straight after is not very effective in my opinion. So still just going to have to keep it going. Might get held up by this Aston, but should be blue flag, so we'll let him pass, I would hope, and does. It's good sportsmanship there, letting him pass. Knows he's P1. I think that might even be Paul Britta head. It is.
This
But
could
he's
be
pitted.
where you come across these cars. If you come across a blue flag right here, you just have to yield to it. You take a wider line. It's 2 or 3 tenths lost or gained, subject to where you come across that car on track. So this is a gamble with this much traffic in front.
Yes, exactly right. It's a big gamble from Matt Lamb, who I believe still hasn't finished his stop. As I say that, he's just finished a stop, so now he's going to make his way out of the pits. He's going to be in a good position. Going to come out with clean air. Ferris Stanley may do the same when pitting in a few laps. I dare say he might come in the next 2 laps for that final pit stop. As we see, Bub has now come into the pits as well. Here is Matt Lamb, just coming out from that pit stop he completed. Let's have a look now. Is Stanley going to pit this lap? If so, we can compare where they are in chat. We know it's roughly a 47-second overall pit stop time from the start of the white line to the end, and he does come into the pits. So let's keep an eye on this. He absolutely zoomed it into the pits. That was very well timed. First pit box for him. Let's see where this plays out. Matt Lamb's just come through the chicane in the middle sector. Bit of blue flags. That's Herbert behind him as well. Still needs to pit.
Herbert can take advantage of this, tuck in behind the tail of that Porsche and just get a little bit of track momentum going back into his race.
Absolutely. So Stanley's not going to be on the move just yet. You probably won't see him move until Lamb gets towards the final corner.
Out through Druids now.
And he's off. Okay.
Over Deep Hill. So coming around into Old Hill Corner.
Has he timed it well? I think he has.
And I think that Stanley is actually going to get out in front.
Yes, he is. And a long way ahead too. He's going to come out to a Lamborghini. So Lamb has lost seconds there. 2, 3 seconds, 4 seconds more. Probably 2, 3 seconds. My math is a bit off, but Lamb is going to have those 1 lap warmer tyres.
Can Matty get some track time back here? We saw the struggles in the splits last night. The second lap was no advantage over the car coming out of the pits. So this could put Matty back into some traffic.
Yeah, it's a rough one for Lamb to take. I think he got blocked coming into the pits. There was a car ahead and Stanley just absolutely centred into the pits, knowing he had the time to make up, risk potentially getting a stop-go drive-through for speeding, but absolutely nailed it on the head. So very well played there. Alex Paz now on the back of Eric Scarney in the 195 Porsche. Johnson's 6 seconds up the road to them, so they've got a bit of clean air to play in as well. Still got some penalties to take effect at the end of the race. There's probably still some penalties for the stewards to give out as we see some drivers coming out of the pits now, dropping down the leaderboard. Alex Paz got that good exit, but can he make any sort of a move on Scarney? I don't think so. No, he doesn't. Steve Lewis just in the pits there. As you can see, left-hand side needs to make his way back out to the track. As we see, 3 10-second penalties there in the top 23. I think there's no one above Mia Rose that's got a penalty anyway. So Matt Lamb still has fastest lap of the race. Jake McKellar up there, P5, still needs to pit as well. So these are not quite the final positions yet. We'll see them lay out probably in the next 5 minutes.
And McKellar still has to take his pit stop. So Bud now is the leading Pro-Am driver and clear space at the moment for Pro-Am class.
Yeah, absolutely. Maddox, excuse me, has come out of the pits. Rose not far up the road. Got a fair gap to Madison in the Honda. We may see him come in the background there. No, we don't. So still in his own little bubble here is Maddox. Good race from him, though. He's had no real issues. Had a bit of battle at the start. As we see there is the form in chat. If you want to vote for Driver of the Day, Best of the Rest, Best Livery and Sportsman, Best Sportsmanship Driver, head to that form now and fill it out. I do believe winners are announced at the end of the round. That would be my guess. So head on over and chuck that in. Get your votes in now.
And the livery, make sure you go through these liveries. Best liveries is in that is for voting as well. And challenging tonight, there are some great artwork out there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you go. Winners announced the following round. So on next week's stream, you will see the winners of each of the split awards for the round here at Oulton Park. 15 minutes to go now.
And Matty Lamb was half a second faster than Stanley on that last lap, but 3.7 seconds back on track at this stage.
Yeah, so big gap there to close for Lamb if he's got any hope at trying to win this race. But, of course, half the battle's getting to there. The other half is getting past.
Looking at Paz at the moment, sitting on the back of Scarney, trying to find a way to get past this Porsche. Weaving around a little bit there. Trying to get into the mirrors for Scarney and trying to put some pressure on to see if he'll make a mistake.
Yeah, all the pressure in the world is going to be being applied by the drivers currently to get their final positions with 14.5 minutes to go. McKellar finally takes his pit stop for the last mandatory. Still probably a few penalties, I dare say, to come through from the stewards. Look like they've had a bit of a busy one, obviously only handing penalties out from the starting grid out of position drivers at lap one from almost an hour ago now. So still something to catch up on. I can only assume some of them will be post-race penalties. As McKellar there, you just see him dropping just behind Paz. So he's going to drop a little bit because he'll have some colder tyres, but that is more than okay. He'll be happy with that. He'll have the warmer tyres and might be able to get past.
And Herbert will be looking at the margin at the moment to Chan. He's 8 seconds behind, but Chan has that 10-second penalty. Unless Chan can get in front of Bud now, I think Chan will have to drop that position to Herbert.
Yes, absolutely. So just have to see how it plays out. Chan needs to pull out 1.6 to not lose any positions. I don't think he'll really want to fight Bub now too much because he'll lose too much time.
And he's going to have to try and find something. The two Lamborghinis sitting on track here is difficult when you're both running the same car. You know, they've both got strengths in the same sections of the track. It really comes down to something you may have found in the setup, or one of the cars having a disadvantage or a slight error in their braking or their exit.
Whoa!
Oh, that was really hard on the brakes there, and that was very much a hold your breath moment.
Yes, absolutely. That was one that I think Bub now might need a new pair of pants after that one. That was very scary, and in doing so, Chan's losing time to Herbert. This is what Herbert wants, but it's not what Chan wants with that 10-second penalty. So Lamb now for P1's actually lost time to Stanley, 4 seconds now. Maddox 6 seconds behind Rose. Rose is in her own little bubble still, 12 seconds to Lamb. Madison's in the same boat to Maddox and Britt's only in his own little bubble for P5. Bub now's got 4.1 to Britt, so fairly large gaps up in the top 5, 6, 7, however you want to call it. So drivers will just sort of be bringing the cars to the end now with the bump there for Chan's going to touch wide.
So fresh tyres for our front two cars, and both cars running a 132.6 that last lap. But Stanley will be keen to take that purple banner away from Matty Lamb, trying to get down to the fastest lap of the race. And Chan doing a lot of work here at the moment on the wheel of that Lamborghini, trying to find some way to get past Bud now in front as Herbert continues to close the gap, and that will, with a 10-second margin, that will put Chan back to 9th position if he can't.
That's a lot of
find
steering
some
lock.
place.
Did you see that? The amount of steering lock that Chan's using through there?
It's a lot of hard work at the moment on that Lambo.
Yeah, must be wearing those fronts a fair bit to get that car turned in with the amount of steering lock required. There must be some real issues with the front on that thing, or maybe that's just how he's taking it. All to their own, I guess. As long as it's working well for him, he's getting the lap time. All to their own. Driving style is different per driver. As you see, I think there's a blue flag up ahead. That might be...
We'll see whether it does have any effect. Sorry, if it does have any effect in the last few laps of this race. If he has scrubbed those front tyres, we'll see his pace drop right off.
Absolutely. That is okay, though. Doesn't probably really need to concentrate on getting past Bub now. Just needs to concentrate on opening the gap on Herbert, and he's doing exactly that, but the opposite of it.
Chan a second slower than Herbert on that last lap. And we have a poll up at the moment. Which track are you looking most forward to in the next 3 rounds? Oulton, Watkins, or Suzuka?
I think everyone's looking forward to Watkins, aren't they? Someone said Oulton. Who was that?
Watkins and Suzuka, both great tracks. I think Watkins Glen, as a rookie, still trying to get used to 1.9 and ACC on PC. I love Watkins Glen because it really teaches you to focus on getting the car to flow through the corners. It really is a great track for learning driving style.
Yep, as we see Ferris Stanley. Oh my goodness.
That is almost his qualifying time.
Yeah, that's just... You'll never see that again.
That's a second faster than Matty Lamb, pulling the gap now out to 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's genuinely unbelievable stuff. That's why he's in BS Plus, everybody. That's why, because he pulls stuff out like that.
So that proves that it wasn't just a miracle during the qualifying period. That is actual race pace. A 32 flat in race pace doesn't have words.
No, you can't write this stuff. He is absolutely flying in that thing. And speaking of flying, Matt Lamb is still flying, but not enough to get to Ferris Stanley's. We saw him take the fastest lap at 32.095.
And now Bud now, he's a leading Pro-Am, doing a fantastic job here, keeping it in the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely doing very nicely to keep that Lamborghini in check, keep it nice, no real tyre wear, doing consistent laps, which is good. We just put in the chat just before T-Mac that the winners will be announced next week for the split poll results. So keep an eye in on the stream for that. I can only assume it'll be announced on stream, so look forward to that one.
And the poll for the track, Watkins Glen was leading that by nearly 60%.
Yeah, what a shock. Everyone loves Watkins except me. What a shock.
It's a bit like Snedden. Everyone hates it, but there's always a handful of people that love it for whatever mad reason.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to meet these people, and I want to know why they like Snedderton. I need to know. It's also like people who like Zandvoort. I need to know why.
I think I'm one of the ones I tend to lean towards enjoying it, mainly because I've had some great success there. Maybe that's just the reason.
Ah, so you're biased. See, that's different. Zandvoort goated. No, that's like my bias towards Barcelona.
You're always going to have some sort of favouritism towards one of the tracks that you're more successful.
Yeah, but what if you're more successful at one track or all tracks if you're any esports driver like Ferris Stanley or Philippa Bokita?
I just think that they love the challenge, so they wouldn't probably they would have their favourite track, but there would be more of a preference over the ability to find that 1/10. Where me, I'm just happily slow. I'm happy going around the track.
Yes, that's exactly right. Chan's losing a lot of time to Regan Herbert there with that 10-second. It was 8.6 seconds gap, I dare say, only about 4 laps ago. So Chan's either really struggling or Herbert's catching. One of the two. But good stuff there. Good gaps in between. Drivers are sort of in their own bubbles now. No more penalties have been given out as such.
Everyone looks to be within a 1 second gap. No real tight competitions at this stage in the top 20 by the looks of those timings. But Thomas is our leading AM driver in the Porsche, and Bud now is our leading Pro-Am driver in the Lamborghini. And the Lamborghini is obviously the new car for version 1.9. The Lambo, the Ferrari and the Porsche. And the Mercedes also got some love for version 1.9.
All the cars got some love, especially the Mercedes, and of course the 3 new cars. We saw the BOP changes, everyone ranting on about the Ferrari. Was it OP? The answer is yes. Now the cars have sort of been evened out a bit more, back to sort of where they were, I think, when the update first came out for 1.9. Everyone seems to be happy. Everyone seems to be a bit more settled now.
And I am quite excited to see this race because we have BMW, Porsche, Mercedes, Lamborghini, Honda, McLaren. We also have Aston Martin in the top 10 with a Ferrari. So a good spread of cars. So it's not just dominated by one manufacturer.
No, which is fantastic to see. And speaking of dominated by something, Thomas, leading the AM class, is currently in a field of Pro-Ams. I don't envy him right now.
But he has got good margin. He's got 5 second gap in front of him and 4 second gap behind him. 16 second front gap in front of him. As we see Jake go off into the bush. Luckily saves it and gets this fine gap between the barriers there.
Yep, did well to get it up. That's Mike Crick there in the Aston. Eric Scarney now just in his own little bubble now. Lamb's just getting past a couple of blue flags. 3, just under 4 minutes to go. Lamb's really dropping back from Stanley now. It's just absolutely flying.
Stanley has stamped the control on this, Matt. It just, considering 15 minutes ago they were nose to tail.
Yeah, it just shows what happens when, if you pull out the right strategy, start pulling the times out, what can happen is Matt Lamb just decides that he wants to do a bit of off-roading.
And the patience of Stanley to sit in and enjoy the ride behind Muddy Lamb for the mid part of this race, knowing that he had the pace with a fresh set of tyres. But Mia Rose, fantastic drive for her to maintain 3rd position and still gaining or pulling away from Maddox. So still finding pace in that Mercedes late in this race.
Yeah, still doing consistent times, 33s, which is great to see. Using all the track there, 8.1 between Stanley and Lamb now. So I think Lamb has really seen that just maybe not enough now and just needs to calm it down. Might have 3 track limit warnings and doesn't want to get a drive through now. We've just got to hope that he sort of stays there with no more warnings, with 2.5 minutes to go.
And Chan is now on a battle to try and stay in front of Vertigo with that 10-second penalty. There's 13 seconds back behind Herbert. So Herbert only 5.5 seconds now off the back of Chan. So keep that trail on the black stuff and keep it pointing forward. Don't make any mistakes from here and you'll remain inside the top 10.
Yes, you just got to keep it consistent. He'll stay in the top 10, will Chan, unless there's a huge mistake made, but I don't think there will be. Good run through there. Still on the back of Bub now. Bub now has been really consistent, really well done, leading the Pro-Am class.
And Chan's just sitting behind this Lamborghini, or the two Lambos, finding very equal pace around this track. Strengths all in the same sections. It's just made nowhere for Chan to go. Had to be content.
Yeah, not giving him any space. I think Chan might just have to keep it to himself here because he's got the 10 seconds, and even getting past Bub now is not going to get him enough time to hold any position. We're on the second to last lap now anyway. So
trying to make a pass and getting it wrong could lose you 2 or 3 positions. So best to take advantage of where you are on track and get to the finish line from here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a case now of bring the car to the end. It's I think that's Mike Crick there, just in the way in the Aston, just a blue flag, but he'll get out of the way perfectly fine, and does so. Very nicely done for MRT team there. Nice run through turn 1 for both the Lamborghinis. Chan's still trying to keep on the back, but I don't think he's going to really have that fight. Still on their second last lap. Do a bit of a lawn mowing there is Chan, but I think just keep it now. 5 seconds to her, but he's not going to get the position off him, unfortunately, due to that penalty from being out of position at the start of the race, in fact, is where he got that one. So a couple of those being handed out. You'll see most of those 10 seconds for that reason. Here is the man of the hour. Was stuck behind Matt Lamb during that, after that first pit stop, I should say. And they were fighting the whole time, and then Stanley's just pulled out some mega times, 32.095, fastest lap of the race, and strategy's been unbelievable and has deserved every part of it. Fought well, held Lamb off and did well. A bit of a touch there too.
Mia Rose may have come across a bit of traffic in that last lap, dropping almost 3 seconds to Maddie Lamb, but back on the pace again now.
Yep, oh, there's a Lambo off. And Mia Rose has got a 10-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 41, so that is not what she wanted to see. So she will lose that podium position to Maddox on the final lap.
And Madison, how close is Madison at the moment?
Not
no,
close
he's
enough,
too far back. Yep.
Which is unfortunate for Rose. I don't think any of us saw that one coming. So at least it means there was no real penalties to be handed out for most of the, well, so the rest of the race. So we see Ferris Stanley just coming down straight to the final corner now. There's Herbert with a drive through. Okay, so Chan's going to keep that penalty. Keep that position, sorry. English is good.
So is it a 20-second penalty if he doesn't take the drive through before being this is the last lap?
A bit more than that.
Or yeah. So
I think he might be 30th Stanley.
That could put him back down to where Pass is at the moment.
Correct.
Behind Johnson.
Stanley did well, comes home for P1. Matt Lamb comes across to P2. Mia Rose is going to come home for P3, but that 10 seconds is going to drop it down to P4. Won't be too happy about that one due to a collision about 4 laps ago. Maddox will be stoked with that. Kept it clean, and it's going to be rewarded with a podium. Sure, Madison in his Honda is going to come across and at him for P5. What a race he's had, except for that little tap with Chan, but no penalty applied there from what we've seen. So he's going to hold on to that P5. Paul Britt's going to come across for P6 in the number 3 McLaren. Bub now for the Pro-Am win. He's going to come across in P7. I'm interested to see what this drive-through is going to be worth for Herbert. Let's find out. Yep, 30 seconds.
30 seconds, so that will kick him back. But where is betting over on this? Is he close enough to take advantage of both of those? He can come now through. Chan may just manage to drop one position.
Yep, just one. In fact,
well,
he won't
drop any because the drive-through.
Exactly right. As we see Ben Thomas, the AM winner, come across the line for P22, and that's it. That is it. What a race that was. A nice dry race too for the drivers.
And a reasonably clean race. Great result for most. A little bit disappointing there for Mia Rose.
Oh no, we're now being told by Megan D that Bub now should be pro. Okay, so maybe we've lied.
Okay,
Let me check the entry list. Hang on.
That was just on the telemetry.
No,
for us,
he is pro-am. Can confirm pro-am.
So, and then who was our leading AM? Can we scroll down to see who took the flag for the amateur class?
Ben Thomas, I believe it was.
Fantastic.
Great
Cook
effort.
had a commanding lead early on in the pace and obviously had trouble around his pit stop. But Thomas, an outstanding drive for him to take out class win.
Yeah, what a race that was. Good stuff from Lamb and Stanley at the front. Mia Rose did well, just except for that 10-second that haunted her at the end there, losing that podium position. But of course, coming up now, you've got Split Red.
Yeah, great call, guys. Great race. That's some hectic pace there from that split.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be seen again.
No.
Very, very quick. Well, we're going to take a short break before we bring you AP Red. Thank you, Mitch, and thank you, Tim, for bringing a great commentary to AP Split Blue.
Thank you. Good night.
No worries. Thanks, guys. See you later. Give it all you can.
Alrighty, welcome back. It is AP Red tonight, following AP Blue, as Chris Withers sends himself into the fence, which is a great little start for tonight. But welcoming into the commentary booth at the moment is just Sean Pro now. How are you, Sean?
Yeah, a bit hot and sweaty after that race, but
Great
yeah,
race,
thank you
mate.
for the new title, I guess.
How did you enjoy your last race in Pro-Am?
Look, it was going to happen, wasn't it?
Mate, you got too much ability.
It's been a lot of effort and a lot of time to get to where that is at the moment. So
No,
it's,
fantastic
lots of
effort,
time.
mate. Thoroughly deserved. Was it 7th or 6th?
Finished 6th overall, I believe, but unless there's other pens that got to be processed. But yeah, 6th for now. But 7th for now. But I will definitely take that and walk away with my head held very high.
No, well done, mate. Awesome stuff. Mike Crick's not too far away. He's probably showering himself after his sweaty little race too. That didn't sound good, but we'll go with that. But
It is what it is.
it is what it is. So the very, very, very final split for Asia Pacific this week. I put a poll up before. Out of the first 3 tracks, Oulton Park, Watkins Glen and Suzuka, which one are you most looking forward to?
Oh, I've only really put a lot of time into now Oulton and Suzuka, but the last time I had a crack at Watkins was back at the Enduro before.
Wow, it's a bit time ago.
Yeah, so I want to give that a good crack actually, because I've signed up with Mr. Maddox to do an Enduro with him, and in July, I think 4 hours there, end of July. So better get some time on there. Looking forward to that one.
I haven't cut a single lap on the American track pack. Isn't that bad?
What have you been doing?
I just everything. But the goal is to get some laps on there. But Watkins I'm familiar with. Coda I am, but not Indy. I don't think I've ever done a lap of Indy anywhere.
I didn't mind Indy when I was having a crack at it a few times there through, I think it was LFM we did a little bit. Yeah, Indy was alright. I like Watkins. It's got a good flow to it once you sort of,
once you understand it, yeah, exactly. Is that bus stop? Intersector one?
Yeah, that chicane where it's if you millimeter get it wrong, that you're becoming part of the wall. Like, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just a wall.
No, it's a good fun track. It's great to see some some new faces out there this week, some old faces and some returning faces. Once again, though, the entire group has outdone themselves with these liveries. There's been absolute beautiful barn burners. I just want to give a quick shout to Fleming. I saw this one a little earlier. Pretty impressive.
Oh, I like the shark tooth around it. That's pretty cool. Oh, is it a dinosaur?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's pretty old, that man, so he's a bit of a dinosaur.
As we see a McLaren go a little bit sideways through there.
You'll hate me saying that because he's younger than me, but very close here. 15,000 separating Shady Samuel and Chris Cooley.
Yes, we had Peach, I should say, having a bit of a whinge about how fast Shady and Cooley were, but he has to just step up, I think.
No, I wouldn't be Peach.
Yeah, it's a cool. Nah, Peach is alright.
Well, they're his teammates, aren't they, in the Endurance Series?
Yes. So he should be, giving them shit, no doubt.
Imagine if those three come together.
Massive sadness, and the team might implode, but, it'd be content nonetheless.
Yeah, they might not head to Suzuka on friendly terms until someone bins it at 130R, and then they're off the Christmas card list. But very tight between the top six, less than 5/10.
Yeah, I think we had something similar in Split Blue. I think other than the top two, which were doing, 32 deads. I think from P3 to P11 was separated by about half a second or something from memory as well, which is incredibly good to see.
Anything 32s is just rapid.
Indeed.
We've got the return of Benny Floyd, one half of Kaysan Motorsport. I think he made this livery himself. It's his first time having a full crack at a custom. And he's done bloody well, if I'm just...
I was going to say, I rate it.
It's
That's
awesome.
Not bad.
So himself and Corey Sweet sporting the same livery. I'm not sure if there's any little Easter eggs there on the cars, but we'll take a little bit of a look later. And we've got Paddy Oliver, Alpha Venturi Porsche. Oh, that's gorgeous.
I don't mind the blue on that. That looks very nice.
Yeah, it comes well with the white too. Alpha's got normally pretty darkish colours, but I really like what they've done there.
It really stands out, though. I think the white really bounces well with that light blue and that. But there's actually two tones through blue there from memory. Yeah, that looks cool. I thumbs that one up for sure.
I'm not sure what's happened to Chris Cooley's, but maybe he hasn't submitted a livery because it's pretty carbon. As Shady goes 32.5. Vomit.
Yeah, look, that's a lot faster than I've ever gone. But yeah, I don't know what's happened to that livery. I dare say he's probably forgotten knowing the man, but that's alright.
We see Paul Boxell in the wall, but he's back out there racing because he's just finished his lap, I think. But he won't get another one in. Some new faces like Tristan Digby in the Lamborghini.
Welcome to the series.
Some bloke called Matt Powell.
Oh, it's good to see him. Oh, of course he's in the bloody Bentley.
Love him to
that
death.
Man
he's gone to
cannot get
Bentley.
into the Bentley.
Yeah, he's going to have a struggling season, but it's just great to see him out there, and hopefully his pedals work as intended throughout the series. Another one that's returning is Thistlethwaite.
I'm glad you had a shot at that,
2.8
not me.
seconds off the pace, which is unusual there for Ferox. But something I have noticed, which is staggering. Mitchell Bean Dishes livery isn't, pardon my
You've got
French.
no head. There you go.
Oh no,
Oh,
I'll take that
God.
back. I'll take it back. It is shit. Never mind.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it a mistake
I'm
or
so
is my eyes bleeding?
Oh no, I thought I saw someone else. And I had. Oh well, I'll take it all back. Mitch, disgraceful. We've got Gabriel Salvaggio. I'm pretty sure him
not
and
sure
his
or not.
brother are racing. Salvatore is his brother. I don't think he's racing tonight, but they are in the same splits. We love seeing brothers involved in OOR, or brothers and sons and girlfriends and dads. I don't know. Whatever your combination want, it's just great to see there.
You know, if I had a family member of similar age doing something of sim racing with myself and they were faster than me, there would be so many brawls inside the household. Like, it just would. Every race would end in tears and someone getting thrown outside or something.
Well, don't the Sneakers brothers live 50 metres apart? That's too close. If that was my brother and stuff happened, you'd need to be 5k. Not tempted to launch something out the window. Good old sibling rivalry. Tell you what, Shady's had a fair crack at some abstract art here.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It seems like it's a bit busy, but at the same token, it works.
Speaking of busy, welcome Mike Creek. What a segue.
G'day, everybody.
You got your towel on? You dry?
Yeah, pretty dry.
Pretty dry.
It was a
Yeah.
sweaty race.
So he has had a shower.
Yeah. Are you as dry as this track's going to be? Because they've got nothing but sunshine for half hour.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be similar to what we had in Split Blue, just a pretty simple dry race, unlike what we had in all three races yesterday night.
I think this is the sunniest race we've had so far. I think you guys had a bit of overcast weather. This is full sun. So this is un-British weather.
There's some very nice liveries here. Is that a milk? Yeah, milk.
Yeah,
Bonsai,
Mike
I
Earl and his
believe?
Bonsai. Evolve done very well with their liveries. Let's break Czech Republic. That'll be Stefan. Ooh, I don't mind that. Who's that? That's Sean
Black
Muller.
and gold.
Mr. Essendon himself.
I'm a bit biased, I designed that one.
That's absolutely shithouse. I
Yep.
mean, it's fantastic.
There it
No,
goes.
In the bin.
nah, it's great,
Yep.
mate. You do some fantastic work. You're a bit too clever, I think. Mate, can you do one thing, though? Can you talk to Mitchell and convince him to get a livery off you?
What's wrong with that one?
This
That's
man
amazing.
needs
Look at
this-
it. Pastel, green, yellow, and pink.
He
I
needs
mean,
some
there isn't
milk.
a better colour combination.
If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go show myself to the hospital room.
I'm not surprised, though, to be honest.
Oh, is that
Oh,
chrome?
actually, I don't know what I prefer. I might go back to Mitchell's.
I like the purple chrome. The purple chrome is nice.
that's the wrong answer.
That's a real WOG paint job there.
Back with the Tic Tac car again.
Did you design this one as well?
Yeah, that was one of mine too, for Maddie.
Good old Bentley. Fanta. We've seen Coca-Cola. We've seen a bit of everything. I love the consoles, cars that we've seen throughout.
Loving that Fanta livery.
It's great. That's how's your mother? Oh, I've pressed the wrong button. So the drone is taken off by itself. Look, clap
And
in
we're
my
off and
hands.
racing with the
Well.
drone.
And on that note, I'm going to jump in the drone properly and leave you guys to it. Have a great call.
Thank you, Mo.
Thanks, Neil.
So how did you find your race just then? Because I know that I was in there as well with you. So did you have any incidents or did you enjoy yourself, get far up the grid, etc.?
I had many incidents, most of them self-inflicted. Was not the start to the season I was hoping for, but I can't expect much better. I didn't do much practice and didn't really do a lot of preparation for it, so P29 was probably being generous to me for that race. Lots of just little off-track incidents and yeah, just sloppy driving for me overall. Just getting caught up in bad situations. You seem to do reasonably well though. I saw you up there as you passed me as a blue flag.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to say I had a bad race because lots of people would then yell at me and send me lots of evil, nasty DMs. But no, it was a bit intense because the boys at the front there are incredibly pacey, and trying to even tack onto the back of them and keep in touch, so to speak, was just insane. But yeah, bit sweaty, but we got the job done, finished in top 10. And yeah, we'll see if we can improve as we go through the season. But yeah, some incredibly paced drivers out there.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to see pretty similar stuff here. A lot of close times there in qualifying, so it's going to be interesting to see how this all stacks up. But it's a punishing track, Oulton. It doesn't accept any little mistakes, and especially with the 2 pit stops, it just makes it that a little bit extra complicated, even with a full dry race. So we can see some big gains and some big losses here, I think.
Yeah, very much indeed. The track is very punishing. If you do make that slight mistake, it will not just give you a little bit of a pain, it'll give you all the pain. It's just unrelenting in that regard. But a lot of people might not be aware that these tyres, since the patch, don't come up to temp or up to pressure as well as they used to. And you have to sort of, I guess, be very gentle and bring them up and into the window. Otherwise, they will get massive pressure loss through here and you'll get massive wear as well. As these guys are now double filing into the last corner, I'm going to let you take away the call at the start, and we'll see what we happen with split red.
No worries. We got Samuel leading from Floyd, Senekis, Hewley, Fleming, Sweet, Oliver, Real, Stoddart, and Barstold. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one, but that's our top 10 for now as they come around the final bend as they get ready for the green flag. It's a pretty early green flag here. It's a tough one for those at the rear, but we have green flags and they're away. So Samuel getting off to a good start, good lead there. Falling in nicely at the front, not too much side by side. Will Cooley and Senekis getting very close together there, but managing to keep position 3 there as these two go side by side. Floyd's not ready to give up that position, but Samuel's managed to hold onto it on the inside. You'd think that Floyd's not going to try to push too hard here. It's not really the corner you want to do it, especially on lap 1 with those tyres, as you were saying, Noski. But we are coming around the hairpin now. Everyone doing very well, nice and clean so far. I'm not seeing too many yellows. Let's pray that that continues for the rest of lap 1 as we go through the chicane. Everybody getting through there nicely, single file. Everybody sorted themselves out nice and quickly here, actually, on lap 1. We're only halfway through the lap, but looking good so far, nice and clean. Not too many changes of positions as far as I can tell. And Samuel holding on to the lead. So not a big jump up in that top 10, but maintaining it pretty well. What do you think?
Yeah, I think with this track in particular, there's a little bit of off track there as they come to the second chicane on camera 2. But this track is well known that by the time you get to the hairpin, you have to be single file if you're trying to be too wide in that, which we saw Floyd go on the outside in turn 2. I think he did the smart option there and backed off to preserve himself because it was going to end up in tears otherwise. So top driving to him there, realising that. Long race to go. You got an hour and 8 minutes and 2 stops. So yeah, the jobs can get done in the course of time. But yeah, very clean racing so far. Very well done to the opening lap for split red. As there's a bit of a gap forming up behind, I think it's behind P11 or something, and there's also a bit of a yellow in the rear of the grid there.
Yeah, someone's had some sadness up at the rear there, but we see Muller is back there in P10, Bushel P12 now. A few little packs. There's always going to be these little battle packs, especially in the opening laps here at Oulton Park. It's just such a small track, overtaking so difficult, especially when everyone is this close together in terms of pace. As we look down into the bend here, it's very easy to make a mistake here, but I think everyone getting through nice and tidily there.
Well, I thought that Ferrari was going a bit wide there for a second. I thought this could be very sad for the rest of the drivers behind him, but managed to pull it up in time, which is good. Yeah, the gaps happen pretty quickly as well, just due to the nature of this track and how sort of the overtaking zones aren't there unless you really get a good run on someone. The pace gaps actually start forming pretty early on. So I guess in a sense my advice would be once you sort of get your tyres in that window, which they should be coming up about now, end of lap 2, start of lap 3, they should be getting right into that nice window where you'll feel that extra grip. Just get into your rhythm and wait your turn. If you think you're too fast for the car ahead, wait for the window because there is a pit window, and then you can knock off a stop pretty early if you need to and continue on about your business. As we see Cooley here up behind Sneakers. Oh no, Oliver, what are you doing? That is not where you're meant to be, my friend.
No, let's see what's happened here. So he's gone side by side. Ooh, there's a little bit of a touch there, but I think that's all on Pat Oliver there. He just turned in a little early.
Yeah, with I believe with the new sporting code and that, you are meant to have enough racing room, and there was ample space there. But that'll be probably onto the stewards. Have a quick look if the number was called. The stewards and the race director do a fantastic job for each individual split, so we'll leave it up to their decision and discretion.
Yeah, absolutely. But lots of, you're right there. It is all the way sort of back to that kind of like P8, P9. They're all in a nice little tight pack. And then you've got these guys back here in a little pack as well, all behind Muller there in P10.
Yeah, I think the key here is you don't want to be caught in too much of a pack behind if you are faster than the car ahead. But at the same token, you do not want to come in for an early stop and get caught up in blue flag territory. Oh, that's a lot of extra curb there by Cooley. And there we say goodbye to the tyre barrier as he is
And
alongside with
sorry, that's Shady back there. He's obviously he's had enough at some point. He's lost a couple of positions there, back down to P3. I wonder what's happened to Shady there.
Oh yeah, very interesting. I didn't realise that. But yeah, Shady is now down in third with Cooley in fifth. Floyd and Sneak Eye Mr. Peach have gained an advantage from whatever happened to him there. Maybe took a bit too much inside curb. Who knows, maybe we'll be able to get a replay of that at some stage as we move forward. As we're still right on board with Cooley here as they start the fourth lap. Doing alright as a time. Here we go, here's our replay. Oh, a bit of outside grass. Did well not to... oh, and he's ended up in the sand track. Did well to avoid those tyre barriers or those walls on the inside there, but... yeah, unfortunate. If you do dip a wheel out there on the outside, you are just skating. There is no grip out there.
Yeah, that British grass does not forgive that kind of just that one tire off, and yeah, you're out of the track. But as you said, did very well there to avoid hitting the tire barriers, and only lost 2 positions. But he won't be happy with himself as we see Beg at the rear has had an off here. Wonder if this is self-inflicted.
I'm gonna guess it was. Oh, it's a big power slide and then a snap. Unlucky.
Just a little mid-engine oversteer there. Typical. Ooh, it's a rejoin. Ooh, that was tough. Yep, that was tough. He's managed to pull out of that nicely and avoided hitting anybody. But yeah, very hard track to rejoin back onto Oulton Park. So
Props
small.
to the drivers coming through there at speed as well to realise that that line was compromised. As we see Boxall. Oh no, he's had a big oops and he's parked waiting for that barrier.
Yeah, not the position you want to be off track in.
No, unfortunately. And it's just one of those things too, when you're trying to rejoin, especially on a track like this, if you have to sort of wait and you are slow with the grass because there is no grip, it just feels like an eternity. You've got to wait for half the grid to go through. It's just painful. As we see Shady already dipping into 32 territory. That is disgusting.
Yeah, I wonder if he's running slightly lower fuel than everybody else, but I can't imagine he's doing much more than, say, a third of, the race distance here. We have to see if that's all just pure pace or if he's trying a different strategy to everyone else ahead of him.
Yeah, no. All I know is the man is rapid. But looking at YouTube chat, not sure if there is any Mercs in this race at the moment. I'll see if we can get through a scan of the field, but at the moment, the top 23, no Mercedes.
Yeah, it's always an interesting mix once you have an update or a patch like this, just to see how many of everyone's always going to try out the new cars. So we've got a lot of Porsches, a few Lambos, and obviously quite a few Ferraris. So it seems to be a Porsche field, this one, compared to some of the other splits, which are pretty heavy on the Ferraris.
Yeah, indeed. Diabolds, it's hard to say. Depending on where it is, you don't want to come too far off. Oh, that's sad. And then that's what happened there with Boxy.
Just went too wide.
Yeah, a bit too wide. But when you do dip the wheels, especially in like that high speed section, you don't exactly want to slam the anchors on because you will just loop the car and you'll end up losing too much speed. You're probably better off doing what Shady did there. And we've had a second person join the club. Player 2 has entered the game.
It just keeps going. It's like he waited. He's just oh no, you go first, mate. You'll be right.
Yeah, after you, good sir. But yeah, as I was saying, just to finish that point, you're better off just, I guess, half lifting and trying to coast the car back onto the track as safely as possible, and then apply your brakes once you know you got all 4 bits of rubber on the track to pull you up for the corner. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, unfortunately, as we see PJ right on the rear bumper of Benny Floyd. Look, I do believe it was built on a runway. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, wasn't every British track? Or is that just the meme that's going around?
I'm not sure about Oulton specifically, but yeah, most of the British tracks are usually old World War II airfields and things like that. But maybe someone in chat can help us out with that little bit of trivia.
Yeah, someone go into Google, go into Wiki, let us know. All British track runways, or airfields, I should say. As we see, Peach here is well and truly. Oh, my phone goes off at an inappropriate time. Thank you very much, Jarvis. Peach is right on the rear bumper of Floyd again. Now, with Floyd returning, I don't know how much sim time he's had. He's got a good run here. Defending like a champ, taking that inside line. Must give racing room here as they come side by side. All very tight. Peach is sort of left out hanging to dry there. That line's not great. As we see Samuel as well get a bit sideways on exit. But very well done to both boys. Very respectful. But Peach will definitely be trying to look for an opportunity, if knowing that he has got that little bit of extra pace through that section of the track to try and make a dive, I was going to say, a move happen. As we get a replay here of our dinosaur car, what's happened? Oh, he's bounced on the inside curb and off to Narnia you go.
Yep, I did that at least 3 times.
Oh, only 3. I managed to do it about 300,000. Oh, Fanta, have you done the same thing?
Claiming a lot of victims that particular section of the track, as it does. We have Keeley on the back of Sweet here in the Aston. You'll see the Aston getting a run.
Yeah, Keeley is unbelievably fast in that Aston. I've tried to see how he runs it. I mean, last season I was in the Aston, but don't have the skill level that that man has at the moment. But incredibly quick. Too bad his livery doesn't work though, because that car is very basic.
Maybe it's on purpose. We start to see a few penalties come through for, yeah, looks like some jump starts and a few of those clerical errors, I guess you'd call them.
Yeah, the old jump start or out of position, it does happen, unfortunately. Sometimes you get caught napping, but yeah, sometimes the old the trigger foot goes a bit early, as we see the second one come through for another jump start. As we do jump starts here at 10 seconds, as well as out of position penalties are also 10 seconds, and if you're caught speeding in the pits, the stewards are very nice and convert all that to a 10-second penalty for the drivers.
Here we go, look at it, P10, which is our top amateur driver here, Salveggio, doing very well for themselves up there in P10. Nice shot for an M driver. I wonder how long they'll be an M driver if this sort of performance maintains, but early days yet.
Yeah, well, as Mull said earlier, I believe that's his debut race here in the Sprint Series. So welcome to the series, running in top 10 at the moment, top effort. I'd love to see what your progress is for the rest of the race and the rest of the season. As we see a bit of yellow in the background there, someone is doing donuts in the dirt.
Got a Porsche off.
Oh, Stefan. Well, the battle pack now at the front has turned almost into a 3-way battle here. Samuel only 3/10 behind Peach, and Peach only being 3/10 behind Floyd. Going to get pretty intense pretty soon, I think, with these 3. But who's going to make the first move? Is it going to go for an overtake, or is someone going to go for an early dive into the pits?
Yeah, it's a tough call to see who's going to come out on top out of these 3. They're all really fast and not too far off each other's pace. So it'll be interesting to see who takes it. I think Shady's probably the paciest of the 3. I mean, we got it up there in P1, but neither of these drivers are going to just let him pass. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top here of these 3.
Yeah, 100%. It's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass. I think from memory, you've got to be about 7/10 quicker to make an overtake sort of happen here. I don't think Shady is that much quicker than Peach, and likewise with Peach with Floyd. But, you know, then it's just how much pressure can you put on the driver ahead, how much can you give in their mirrors to see if you can force a mistake and get that position.
Yeah, that's it. And we can take the multiple pit stops, multiple mandatory pit stops into account as well. I think that'll factor in, someone like Shady, who's, quite pacey, could do well by, trying to do a big overcut, get some clean track, clean air, and have that little bit more pace while one of the other drivers ahead is in the pace. But if they all come in at the same time, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be who can, or who does the first move, because I think the overcut might be beneficial here, but I think the undercut is probably better. I think I ran longer than the guys around me in my race, but I had clear air as well once they dived in, so I was able to keep the pace that I was doing. So I think that's helped me out. But these guys are far superior to my capabilities, so they're probably thinking about 300 different strats versus my basics one. But I'm sure in the next sort of 10 minutes, or within the next 10 minutes, pit stops will start flowing, I dare say, considering it's a two-stopper.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's gone for a super early pit stop. It would be pretty hard. Like, I was finding the tyres, I had to do an early pit stop, and I was finding the tyres are not fantastic in a 40-minute run in the latest patch. So, yeah, I can't imagine anyone trying to do any of those particularly long runs.
Yeah, especially here, as I said, earlier with the pressure loss as well. Oh no, Peach, you've gone around in a circle, but were you assisted? I'm sure we'll get a replay of that. Right, oh, here we go. There's a replay of the start.
We did just see a penalty there for Muller for an incident on lap 1, so maybe it's related to that. We'll have to see how this goes.
Yeah, we'll soon find out. They were up a bit of the field here. Oh, that dinosaur car just bogged down there. Oh, this is the Floyd on the outside. This is nice. He got a really good run out of turn 1 there. Pulled right up alongside the Lamborghini, but Lamborghini had the inside 4 turn. Is that 2 or 3? I don't know. I get confused with kinks. So
yeah, is a kink a turn? It's always complicated.
It is. But yeah, I top tier effort there for Floyd, backing out of that decision there. I think that was well and truly top tier level racing to see that ending badly into the hairpin there. As we go back live with Hewley, definitely. Oh wait, he's gained the position because Peach got spun round, or had a spin at the hairpin. Don't know whether he was spun or not, but PJ sitting in P5 now. Hewley still on the back of Sweet, and Shady is now within a second of Floyd. Oh, this looks like the replay here of PJ on Floyd. What happens here? The lines look pretty decent through there. Oh, no, he's had a pre-spin. Yeah, okay. Unassisted, slight oopsies. He's actually done well to not make that any worse than what it could have been, and didn't get in the way of the other drivers coming through there. So, nice recovery, Peach. Long race to go. Go get some new tyres, and carry on about your business, sir.
Yeah, it won't be doing his tyres any favour. It's going to be very difficult to keep pushing and keep that pace up now. He's going to have to wait at least a lap or 2 for those tyres to cool back down. But yeah, unfortunate, that grass claiming a victim as it does.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much victims it claimed in Split Blue in our race, but obviously not enough because it seems to be out with vengeance at the moment for Split Red. Unless they're just trying to show us how brutal this track can really be. As we're on board here with Fernandez, sitting in P11 looking at the back of P10, our debut amateur driver, doing very well in his BMW versus the Ferrari trailing behind. Doesn't look like anyone's gone for a pit stop yet either out of the top 23, so this is going to get very interesting very quickly.
Yeah, I'd say maybe roughly about lap 14, we might see people start to come in. Lap 11 might be a little bit early, but I don't know, it depends what kind of strategy everybody's going to go for.
Yeah, unsure. I know I went for a longer stint 1, to then make 2 shorter stints at the rear just to try and keep the speed up. Oh, as Peach has dived into the pits. So there's our first victim or first contestant into the pits. We'll see where he shuffles out, into what position. At the moment, he's just slowly dropping down. But he might come out in some decent air too, depending on where he's going. If he just ducks in behind this car coming around turn 1 now, he'll have a little bit of space behind to get... Oh no, he's come out ahead, so that's alright. He's got a little bit of space ahead of him now, so he might be able to get up to speed quite easily and bring those tyres in nice and slowly and get a decent run out of it this time, and maybe extend this stint, try and catch back up to the top 5 and work his way through there, because the other guys ahead should pit relatively soon as well.
Yeah, hopefully you can compensate for that little mistake with some fresher tyres. I mean, it's a pretty obvious decision to make at that point. You know, the tyres would have been pretty cooked, and you just got to get the maximum pace when you're in that position, and hopefully you can sort of jump back up and get back on the rear of that battle and challenge for the podium again. That's what I'll be hoping for sure.
He'll definitely be trying to get up on those 3 top steps for sure. Just going to chat here. Impossible to pass on this track. Look, I wouldn't say it's impossible. It's highly unlikely, but it all depends on how much pressure you put on the driver ahead. If they can make a mistake, then yeah, you can get a decent overtake. Like, you can sort of get them probably into the hairpin if they have a real shocker through the left-hander. You can get them coming into the braking zone of the second chicane, as we see. Oh, Digby, you almost caused a really bad rejoin, but very smart on seeing the car coming through and then rejoining in a safe manner. As Real is leaving the pits now after serving his mandatory.
Yep,
Or
definitely.
one of them.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, definitely starting to see everybody hopping into the pits now, roughly about that time. So we've had 20 minutes of running so far. Pretty clean so far, I must say. Not too many sort of bumps and grinds and all that sort of stuff. Just good, fair racing so far. So good job here from Split Red.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just more that maybe it's the first race jitters. Just minor mistakes from drivers that cause them to go off track, but yeah, nothing in terms of any real door contact or, you know, anyone spinning people. But yeah, it's very, very clean racing so far from Split Red.
Yeah, just a bit of self-inflicted sadness, which is an acceptable sadness, I suppose, unless you're the, you know, driver in question.
Indeed. And yeah, Nathan in chat there, P8 at the moment for our top AM driver. Yeah, but with the penalty of Muller as well, so you can call it an extra posse there, because not only does he have to do his stop, but he has to sit there for an additional 10 seconds, so he'll gain that posse as well.
Yeah, so both pull into the pits now. Back at the front here, Hewley is just right on the bumper of Sweet here. You cannot get rid of him in that Porsche. He's just got an Aston Martin in tow.
Oh, the Aston got a brilliant run there, but Sweet has just decided I'm sticking on the inside of this next one, but they come close to go. Oh, a little bit of a bump. That's okay. Play on. Oh, he did well to save the Aston there. I thought that was going to loop for a second there, but no, fair play, boys. Well done.
Yep, just a little bump and grinds there. Everybody trying to gain that position, but Sweet doing very well with his defense there, giving him enough space and making sure that there wasn't any sort of big incident there. So well done from both. So we see Peach continuing his fight back up on the back here of Thistlethwaite in the Audi. Good to see an Audi still getting a shout and a run.
Yeah, he's compromised exit there, so Peach should get the job done here coming into this first chicane. There is nicely done, but I think that was also well seen by there. Car 36, the Audi, because going really tight into that braking zone, not ideal, so I dare say he may have done a slight lift just to make sure he survives for the next 50 minutes of the race.
Yeah, Peach is engaged Max Verstappen mode, I think, just jumping up as many positions as possible and getting through that traffic and making everybody look like they're just standing still.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to use that little bit of red mist to your advantage, but hopefully it doesn't get too cloudy and you drive too poor. But Peach has been doing it for a long time now, so I dare say he'll be alright. Once he gets that little bit of track going, he should be sweet. But yeah, Cooley still on the bumper of Sweet here, 0.3 of a second, much like Samuel is still on the bumper of Floyd. Once again, 0.3 of a second. These guys are mimicking each other. But the Porsche boys, their team is doing well defending against both the drivers. which is very good to see.
Yeah, holding on to P1 and P3 very convincingly at the moment. I mean, it looks like Cooley's got some speed in some places and he's holding on very convincingly, but there's just Switch just not giving him any opportunity, not making any mistakes, and really using that track position to his advantage. But you got to imagine that one of these drivers has got to come into those pits
Well, there
relatively
you go.
soon.
Floyd has dived in,
They're-
and so has Samuel, and Cooley has come into the pits as well. Very interesting.
Sweet staying out, interestingly enough. So I wonder if he's got just that little bit extra pace. You got to imagine he'll hit the next one, but he could be going for a long strat like you did in your race. So it'll be interesting to see how much longer Sweet holds out and whether the tyres start to fail on him.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much clear track he's got ahead of himself. He's got a little bit of clear track because I think Paddy Oliver might be ahead of him on the moment looking at the mini map. So if he's doing decent laps and saw the other guys jump in, there's a fair chance if he can punch out a good time, the chance of Cooley behind him trying to get a jump on him won't actually happen. This is similar to what I was doing. I saw there was clear track ahead of me, so I stayed out that little bit longer just to try and keep my pace up and cover the gap.
So Neck is continuing his fight as he's going to pass a couple of drivers here who have jumped into the pit, so he's going to get a few more of those positions back.
Oh, is he going to come out side by side with Cooley here? Oh, he's just behind. So he's back in the fight with Cooley. Here we go.
Yeah, done very well there, and he's going to have much friendlier tyres in that Ferrari as well, so he's going to have a bit of an advantage here. So it's going to be up to Cooley to see how well he can defend and keep Senecas off for at least a couple of laps while his tyres come up to temperature.
Yeah, indeed. It'll also be depending on how much fuel they're both running, because if Cooley's got a little bit more fuel, it could be also a bit more interesting as well. And we don't actually know how much fuel Peach has got either. He might have decided to do a short middle stint and then maybe a longer end one. Who knows? We'll have to just wait and see how this all unfolds. But good to see that he's back on the bumper of these battle groups. Let's see if he can definitely push up to get those bottom step of the podium.
Sweet in the pits, so he's elected to just do that one extra lap. So let's see how well that does for him.
Yeah, bottom right hand corner there we can see the Lamborghini come flying up, and Sweet is still idle in the pits at the moment. Floyd is coming around last corner, coming across the start finish line. And Sweet is still stationary. Oh, he's lost a fair bit of ground.
Looks like he'll jump into P2 though. It depends how it's going to be close. Yeah, he has. He's managed to jump up there.
Yes, at the moment, looks like the Porsche boys have done well with their strat. As I said, he stayed out that extra lap, got that, maybe had that speed, managed to jump Samuel here. And now the Porsche team is, at the moment, going on mandatory, sitting P1 and 2 with the Lamborghini in P3.
Yeah, as you said, just, you saw he had the track position ahead of him, a nice clear track, and he knew he had the pace to do a really quick lap for his in-lap, and it definitely seems to have paid off for him. Samuel is right coming up on the bumper, but definitely a good play there by Sweet. He's managed to gain position there.
Yeah, probably very smart actually, because if he had waited an additional lap, the tyres of these front three that pitted the lap before him would have been well up to temp. As we see a bit of a dive here, no, that was a bit more respect, unless that was a blue flag, or am I reading that wrong?
No, that was
No,
a position. Yep, definitely for position. That
Well
was
done.
this way there.
There you go, chat. Proof that it can overtake can be done on the track.
There it is, right there. It's one of the few positions where it's a pretty viable spot.
Indeed. But yeah, just
Look at this pack of aims we got.
Yeah, this is quite nice. Mitchell, Mercer, Selvigo, could be wrong there, and Gray doing well. One of them's already out of pit. Oh, that's a bit of a move there, as one of them goes slightly wide in the Honda. Great, that is not the apex of the corner, but as we see a car go slightly wide there on the ripple, and we see the car 11 of the BMW. That may have been a bit close for contact, but they carry on about their business. Nicely done, and another overtake is seen. So yes, can be done on track and not just in the pits.
can see Mitchell actually slightly out of position there as well. He's still got to do He's still got to do his first stop, so just a little bit out of position at the moment. But it's still an on-track pass.
Yeah, there's a few they're still going to do their first stop. A lot of them have. I think the top. Oh, there you go. You got 3 more in the pits now. The front 2, Chalmers and Matty Powell, are both still yet to pit, as we see Samuel right on the bumper of Sweet now instead of Floyd. He's probably spent enough time on the back of Floyd's to draw the back of Sweet's if they're identical liveries.
Yep, catching right up there. I wager Matty Powell might be going for a bit of a long run here. The Bentley's, one of the things the Bentley still has as an advantage is it's quite nice on its tyres, so it does make sense that he might be trying to stretch out this first stint a little bit longer than some of the other cars. As we see him go into the pits.
As you were saying.
As I was saying, but that's still roughly about 10 minutes longer than most of the other drivers ran, so it's interesting to see how some of the different car mechanics and characteristics, I suppose, can come into the way people decide on their strategies. But meanwhile, Samuel is all over the back of Sweet here. So Sweet's tyres probably just about coming up to temp now. So he's done that well because now they're both kind of at the same competitive level in terms of where the car is. But, you know, maybe one's got a bit less fuel or a bit more fuel. It'll be interesting to see how quickly Samuel gets past, if he can get past. We've already seen Sweet doing some good defense already, so
he will be wanting to get past as well, because this battle that's happening now not only is going to be slowing down both of these lads, but now Floyd has got an 8-second gap between him and Sweet. It is just getting bigger by the lap, as we see Paddy Oliver getting a 15-second pen for causing a collision. Unlucky Mr. Paddy.
yeah, you're right there. It's playing very well into Floyd's hands. I wonder if Corey does know that it is sort of just helping Floyd out a bit.
A bit of team orders, you suspect?
Yeah, a bit of team order perhaps going on here. I don't think Corey's specifically holding Samuel up. I think he's still pushing pretty hard, but Samuel's got a lot of pace, so the longer he can hold him up, the better it is going to work out for Floyd, who's now sort of stretched that lead even further.
I like how we're talking about is he holding him up, and Shady's last lap was a 33.4. They're not going slow. There's no such thing as holding up, but it's just, yeah, it's a little sad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 33.4 is like, I can't even do that. It's my best of 34.2, I think. Here, it's yeah, these guys are just on a completely different level.
Yeah, is there a different badge mold that we can give them just other than pro? Can we just make an individual one that anyone that has dipped into 32 territories just gets their own new badge?
Yeah, we need like a super pro class or something.
Just make it alien tier.
Maybe we just bump all the classes down and we just, you know, we go pro, am, and then we use silver as like the old am. We just bump everyone up a level.
Yeah, why not? I'll agree to that. That way I can stay as pro am. Yeah, I'm never going to live that one down. Everyone's going to slam me with that for forever now. But that's alright. Doesn't matter, as we are on board with car 11 again. Looking at the back of Mitchell, the 477 car, who is yet to do a pit stop. So I think he'll be ducking in very soon. I hope he realises he's only got 38 minutes to do 2 more stops, unless he's going for 2 very quick stops.
Yeah, we'd have to assume that's kind of what he's going for there. Yeah, not too much to worry about for Salveggio here. Who, I don't know if he's being held up. Maybe he's just biding his time here because he's not really under threat from Padova behind too much. He's got 2 seconds on him, so it'll be interesting to see.
He's got 32 seconds on him, actually, because of the penalty that's over Padova.
Oh, yes. Even better.
Although Oliver does look like he's catching him at a very rapid rate there. I think he took just 7/10 out of him in that back sector then. So I think Paddy's got the old head down, eyes locked on, target focus. Let's see what we can do here as we go a bit further back in the grid. Oh no, we're going back on Paddy. Never mind.
It's going to be tough to undo those 35 seconds though. That's a big penalty for him to overcome.
Yeah, I think it was two 15s, I believe, or 15 and yeah, I'm not really sure, but there was a few little pens there that stack on pretty quickly as we go back to this battle. And I said before that there might have been a bit of holding up for Sweet and Samuel, but they've actually started to close the gap on Floyd by half a second. So these two are definitely not following the whole slow roll. We're going to try and catch you instead.
Yeah, well, some of that's going to be that Samuel's just putting all the pressure on Sweet. You know, he has to push to keep him behind. You know, like you said, they're both doing 33s at this point at race pace, and that's pretty rapid.
As you were saying, all the pressure, he was left, he was right, he was all over that car turn on the exit of that last corner. Got a little bit compromised, but yeah, he is definitely trying to make that Lamborghini a lot wider than what it is to freak out Sweet any way he possibly can. I thought Sweet was going wide there, but they both held that line quite nicely. And this is also bringing Cooley into the battle a little bit, I believe.
Yeah, he's been slowly catching up, and Peach behind him as well. They're just all sort of compressing to the back of Sweet here. Ooh, as we see that Boxall off. Let's see where this is a self-inflicted moment.
I dare say it might be. He's going incredibly slow there, so there's probably some residual damage there. Oh yeah, he just missed the apex.
Yeah, almost it could even be a hardware issue there. He just sort of went straight on. Didn't look like he even attempted to turn. So hopefully everything's okay in the cockpit of that car.
Yeah, that was a very interesting one to watch actually, because it didn't just look at you as like, oh no, that is Samuel,
Samuel.
had an oopsies. As we see him, he goes to he's had a bit of a dive and a bit of contact, and unfortunately, ACC Physics has spun him around, and that's going to hurt him for position. I dare say that'll be also reported to the steward's room.
Yeah, it wasn't quite alongside as much as he needed to be there to pull that move off, unfortunately. And yeah, the ACC Physics did bite him a bit, but I don't think that move was ever on, and Shady will probably be kicking himself a bit for that.
Yeah, maybe just thought he was had a little bit more braking room than what he actually had, but unfortunately carrying a little bit too much speed. Slight collision, and then unfortunately Kunos Physics kicked in and around his car went. Sometimes the physics works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't, unfortunately. As we see Oliver here, right on the rear bumper of car 11, and in this little battle pack here. I dare say you want to get past them fairly quickly and on his way. And with that penalty looming, he's going to end up getting sent right to the bottom of the grid more than likely, but he won't step away just yet. He will definitely try and get the job done. Oh, a little bit of a nose poke into turn one. No, respectful, left the room. Didn't know, so he's going to be compromised now heading down to this left-hander. Is Paddy going to have enough? Oh, there's a bit of a dial. Oh, and there's contact. Oh, no.
Yeah, that looked like a pretty ambitious move there. I wonder if the stewards have to have a look at that. But yeah, definitely Mitchell coming out worse for wear in that incident.
Oh, no.
As we see another one.
I swear race control has an ability just to pick when something's about to go bad.
Mercer and Begg coming together there. Begg coming out much for the worse.
Yeah, race control, you have a unique skill set. Just putting that out there as we see a fastest lap from Chris Cooley with a 32.7. That is still disgusting.
That is very, very strong pace there in that Aston Martin. So he's looking tough.
Yeah, he's only half a second behind Sweet at the moment, so he'll be trying to get on about his business. He'll want to capitalise on the fact that he doesn't have to deal with Samuel now. As you see Floyd just dodging some blue flags there, very respectful. So what happened here? They're a bit wide on turn one, gets a nice little run on the inside. Unfortunately, he's looks like he hasn't probably put enough steering input there, and may have possibly just come over a little bit rather than trying to hold that inside line. Yeah, veering to the left of the track. So unfortunately, if he did report the incident, that may fall on to him being the one at fault.
Yeah, I'd say so. Just closing that gap. As we see another person taking a dive into the English grass there, the BMW of Heel, sorry.
Yeah, Oulton unrelenting at once you touch that grass round. Oh, nice little power slide there from Matty on the exit. Bentley is known for that, considering the first 2 gears from memory have an absolute abundance of torque. So it does have the characteristics of trying to light up that rear end.
Yeah, really loves these sort of British tracks here. Fittingly, obviously, as the very British car that it is, it really does like these short little tight British tracks. It likes the small corners and slow corners and all those kinds of areas. It's not as good on the straight still, but I don't know. Don't count the Bentley out. I think it's still got some time left in it.
I'm going to go against you just because of current, well, I should say previous experiences at Imola where I had much sadness because there was lots of rain and the Bentley is, well, disgusting in the rain.
Yes.
But that's beside the point. It's okay. It's okay. I'll have PTSD for that for life. It's okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I remember we had a front row seat to that. We were chasing you guys for a little bit in the MRT car. That was it looked like a struggle to drive that Bentley in the wet. And yes, you're right. That is definitely something that does hold the Bentley back from being too ultra competitive.
Ooh, what is going on there, Keeley? That was a bit of a move there. Looks like he was sight. That is not a place to try and stick the nose. Well done on avoiding and not actually killing yourself for a second time. But yeah, not the place where you should be sticking your nose in that little complex. But maybe you're a better driver than I am to even consider it. So there we are.
Oh, Sweet makes a mistake.
Is he going to be compromised? You have to go real defensive here on the inside as they cross the start-finish line. Curley might have a bit more speed through the outside here and has the better line for the next corner. Or runs a slightly bit wide. Doesn't have the acceleration of the Porsche. Has given racing room. Oh, that's done well. Sweet has done incredibly well there to defend that position, considering how much alongside Cooley was there, but that Porsche just had that little bit much legs and acceleration over the Aston, I think.
Fantastic racing from both of these guys. All race too. This is the second time they've come together and been engaged in a very similar little battle, and it just seems like that Sweet's just got that defense on Cooley, and Cooley just can't find the place, and you can see Cooley getting just a little bit impatient at some points, really trying to push it in, trying to apply the pressure, but Sweet's just holding his nerve as we see Cooley now going for the outside. That might move. That might work. Oh no, it come together and there's a bit of a tap. Cooley's come out for the worst. Ooh, I'm not sure how that will be judged. I think to me that's a racing incident, but the stewards will probably have a look at that and let us know which way that goes. How do you see that?
At the quick glance, I think he turned in too early on him. But in saying that, I saw it as a helicopter cam. The stewards have 3,000 features that I don't have at the moment. So yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that. But unfortunate to see that happen. But yeah, Kunos physics. It looks like Sweet got away with it a little bit in terms of damage and not being spun. But I think the biggest winner there would be Peach, considering his earlier off track into the sand at the hairpin. Now he'll be sitting there going, thank you for P3.
Yeah, well, Cooley ducking out after that incident. So it looks like his day done. Retired to pits.
Oh, I didn't see the retire. Oh no. As we see him go a little bit wide. Definitely had side-by-side action now. Yeah, I think there's that little bit of turn in early there on my one, but I could be wrong.
He had an overlap. It's close.
I just think there's that little turn in too early from the Aston.
Yeah, I can't fault Sweet there for sure, because I think Sweet's given him plenty of room. And yeah, I think just a little bit of an early, but that's close call. Like, in my eyes, I don't see a penalty there. I think both drivers have just done their best there, and Cooley's just come out of it, unfortunately, worse for wear.
Yeah.
But we're just commentators, so let the stewards do the
I'll
job.
say I'm not stewarding or race directing at the moment, so I'm glad I'm not in there for some of these decisions, that's for sure. As we see, Shady has done his second mandatory, so he is the only one on track at the moment. Oh, sorry, that's a lie. Muller has also done both his mandatories. With 27 minutes to go, that might be a good strat. Is he in clear air, possibly?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he comes out. There's a couple of people diving in now.
It actually looks like he is in clear air, so he might be able to get those tyres up to a nice temp early without straining him too much and get some speed out of that Lamborghini. As we're on board here with Bucktold. Is it Bucktold? I think so. If I've butchered that, I apologise in advance. But I'm horrible with words and English at the best of times. With this nice livery on the Porsche, actually quite rate it. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm fond of it. I like it. I like that livery. It's a team livery too. There's a couple of those doing the rounds here, and it's a good one. It's kind of like is that an ASICS symbol on the side or something very close to the ASICS logo?
Yeah, possible. I'm sure it's something to do with their racing team. I don't know, but I like it. Not bad. I think the white on these Porsches, because even on Oliver's car, the 777 car, the white really makes these cars pop, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, white and blue is a really nice combination, especially that sort of, palish sort of a teal, almost blue. It really works well against the white there. And I mean, look, the Porsche is just a nice looking car. You can paint it almost any color and it looks pretty good.
That is true. I almost picked the Porsche for the season, but I got a friendly reminder that no. And I went, oh, okay. I'll try something different then.
Yeah, I had similar thoughts when I tried out the new cars. I thought, oh, maybe I'll take the Porsche, but no, I did a long stint and it went, yeah, no. I can barely drive the Aston. I'm not driving the Porsche.
You can barely drive, although the Aston has changed since this patch. So I was going to say, it was pretty easy last patch.
Yeah, it's a bit more wild now. It's a bit more, it's nice though. It's got a little bit more edge and character to it than it did before. It was maybe too smooth before, a bit closer to sort of the M4 and the old M4, sorry, and the Ferrari.
Yeah, right, okay. As we see, a very respectful blue flag there, getting out of the way of Fernandez as he comes through turn 1. Chasing down P5. He's aiming for. Oh, wow, that's impressive. Nicely done. In all this time, we've seen this man. I was just literally about to talk about this man. So, beautiful time work. Thank you, Race Control. With all those battles that have been happening with Sweet and the little bit of contact and the side-by-side, the gap has now spread out to over 10 seconds in Floyd's favour. So he'll be loving the fact he's got a little bit of clear air and has that gap for the next 24 minutes. So he might have the opportunity soon to duck in and get his last mandatory done and then hopefully come out in some decent air and carry on about his business. He'll be loving it right now. He'll be rubbing his hands, going, thank you very much.
Yeah, looking very good for Floyd at the moment, provided that his final pit stop does go well and he doesn't get too held up with traffic. And like you said, manages to get the tyres all up to temperature. He's in a very nice position here, but still putting the pace down.
Oh, looking in chat, Cooley says his engine blew up. How did you manage that? I don't think I've ever blown up an engine in this game, so that is...
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. I know it can happen, and it used to happen most often to the Porsche, the old Porsche, but I've never heard of it happening to an Aston Martin, so that's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. As we see PJ in the pits serving his second mandatory, sitting at P3 at the moment. It'll be interesting to see where he pops out in relatively to where Samuel is, because I know that Samuel was behind pre-pit stop due to his little incident he had. So that'll be one to keep an eye on, as it looks like Peach may be leaving the pits now, or is already back on track. I'm confused. And my phone goes off again.
That's him just coming up behind Matty Powell here, who has yet to do his second pit stop in the Bentley.
So he has got a bit of a buffer on Samuel at the moment, because Samuel's probably 3 or 4 seconds behind this little gap at the moment.
Yeah, not the clean air that Peach would have been hoping for, though. He's stuck behind a big fat boat right now.
Yeah, and not to mention that Matt Powell does not have to get out of the way either. That is a positional battle right now. So
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, if Page really starts pushing him, he might. But what's this sadness going to
Oh
be?
dear.
That's
Oh dear.
oh no, that's a dead Ferrari.
Look, yeah. Can we have a moment of silence for the Ferrari, please?
Matty holding his own here.
He's doing well in the Bentley. PJ will be getting a little bit frustrated, but he might have a bit of pace here. He's going to potentially stick the nose on the inside. Not very respectful. Decides best not to at the moment. Try and get a better line. Maybe. Oh, there you go. Matty's ducked into the pits, so PJ will be going, thank you very much. Now can the next car get out the way?
I think I can hear Page screaming at Matty from all the way from here, all across the continents.
Yeah, all the way from Thailand. He's probably yelling much profanity at a lot of people, but that's just the Page way.
I'm sure it's very nice words that he's using. I'm sure he's saying, "Please, please, Matty, please politely let me through. I've done my pit stop, and you still need to do yours." It's very respectful over in Kovacs, I hear.
Do you want the hot tip on that one or no? Page is good. It's just that, yeah, he sounds, when you're hearing him in race stream or on his stream, he sounds incredibly angry, but no, he's fine. He's like a teddy bear.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, not having to dig at Page at all.
I
but I just know I know he would be quite frustrated being stuck behind that Bentley on his outlap because he really wanted to gain as much time there as possible. So it was just a bad situation for him to be in. Nobody was doing anything wrong there. It's just, yeah, I know he would be a bit frustrated by that for sure, as anybody would be.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I can have a go at him because he's killed me at a race, but that's beside the point. We've already established in live chats before that he is a murderer, and it's fine.
I remember that race. That was a Kailami, I believe.
It was a Kailami. Even though he has apologised far too many times to count, I still hang that well over his head this many months on
As you
because
should.
I can.
Would Page let it go if you killed him?
Oh God, no.
Exactly.
The man would put a petition into OR to get me removed or at least change my name to Killer or something along those lines. So, yeah, no, I'm never going to let him drop it, so he won't let me. It's fine.
So Dreyer in the lead at the moment. Obviously still has to make his next pit stop, so he's going to drop a few more positions, but that's a nice thing to be in the lead of the race. It's good to lead for a couple of laps when you can. Going for a bit of a longer stint in this second run by the looks of it. But it looks like our top three have sorted themselves out. We've got Floyd, Sweet, and Senekis all falling back in line, with Samuel down in what should be fifth at the moment.
He'll end up jumping to fourth because Chalmers has to pit and Dreyer has to pit. So, yeah, he'll be.
Oh, of course, I can't count. Yes.
Numbers are hard, much like
They
Floyd
are hard
in
yeah.
English.
Numbers are hard. As we see Dreyer coming in for his pit stop, which has come out in a reasonable position.
Yeah. Look, chat and John, you're a victim. I was gonna say you've done it as well. I mean, it was a muck around race. I suppose that doesn't count, but a lot of people have killed me in races. Yes.
Murder's going to happen in racing. It's just part of the sport.
Yeah, but these guys do it for intentionally.
It's not polite murder then. It's full on murder. I see.
Yeah, something along those lines. Nah, it's all good fun. So as we see, Floyd has now regained the lead and Sweet behind him. The gap only 6 seconds now, so that has come down from 10, unless that has to be updated further, but that looks like that's what the new gap is, maybe due to traffic or just taking a little bit easier. Who knows, but the gap has closed down by 4 seconds. And as we go to Matty Power, he's also served both mandatories, sitting in P13 in the Bentley, doing very well. Driving.
Yeah, he's been holding on to that spot.
He has got this love for that car though, so that doesn't surprise me that he can drive the wheels off it and actually get it to do things that I can't.
I mean, it's better. Is it better to be P13 in a car you love than P3 in a car that you'd not inspired by. I don't know. To me, I'd rather be P13 in a car I really enjoy driving.
Oh, tough call, because podiums are fun.
Well, I've not even been close yet, so it's hard for me to make that judgment at this point.
At the risk of incriminating my title going to pro further, I have won an OOR race and got a P3, I think it was. Missed out on a P2. Unfortunately, I just cooked my tyres in that race. So, yeah, no, it's definitely it's an interesting feeling to have. But hopefully one day you'll get up there and get to feel that sweet victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were on for at least a podium in that earlier incident we talked about with Peach, where he murdered you, weren't you?
I was P1. Yep. And now I'm gonna go cry again. Thank you.
It's just more ammo. Just we can use it against Peach later.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
We've got Fleming here right on the back of Chalmers for position. It's really cool. I love this stage of the race where everybody's sort of finished doing most of their pit stops, and now it's all for position as we see the Audi are well off the track there. I'm not sure if that was blue flag or not. No, that was this way. So that was technically for position, but he has yet to do a stop as well. So just get as we see. Oh, these two getting very close. The Reptar Porsche on the inside, trying to hold the line, but he doesn't have the overlap there. Fleming doing very well and overtaking there on the outside.
You mean Chalmers? I'm just gonna say.
Apologies.
Chalmers came out of the pits last lap, so those tyres are baby fresh and not up to temp. So the fact that Fleming had a nice inside run there into the last corner is probably the reason he got alongside, but had to compromise a lot. Oh, there's a car going through the tyre barrier there. Please watch out for your rejoin. Nicely done. But yeah, I think that's what gave Chalmers the advantage on coming onto the front straight, or if you call it a straight. And then through turn one, he just carried that extra speed through the corner, whereas the Porsche was compromised. But top level driving from both these guys. Well done.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see over the last few races just how the different tire model, it's not a completely different tire model, but the different physics updates have sort of changed things a little bit, and how important it is to take care of your tires now. They've sort of dialed it back a little bit, which I'm slightly disappointed by. I was kind of enjoying the really high tire deg that we had before, because it was making strategies nice and spicy and interesting, but I can understand why they've sort of dialed that back a bit and made the tires last a little bit longer than they were.
Yeah, the high tire deg was definitely a thing. You had to sort of baby your tires a bit more, which was nice. I thought it was a real interesting way, especially with making setups as well. You had to sort of think about how quick those tires were going to deg up, but it might not stay that way. I mean, Kunos is always doing things and they're always updating. Oh, that's a very wide line there by Fleming. That might be a speed token or a track cut, whatever you want to refer to them as. But yeah, I think it might come back in depending on how things go. They might just be doing like a little bit of a testing phase or something like that at the moment, but obviously 1.9 has just dropped recently for us, so there's going to be plenty of updates over the course of time, so stay tuned. We'll get there.
Yeah, new patch is always interesting to see just how it all balances out after a few months, once they sort of get the kinks worked out and get all the BOP adjusted accurately.
Yeah, 100%. As we jump back on board with Samuel sitting in P4, I didn't see him actually register a pen for that little bit of contact earlier. Maybe they deemed it because he had a bit of a spin that was enough of a penalty, and now he can carry on about his business. And he's only 8/10 behind PJ at the moment, so he'll be definitely trying to get up onto that bottom tier of that podium with 13 minutes to go. So what's that, about 6-7 laps, depending on how quick these boys go?
Yeah, I'd say that's roughly about right. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It's I just noticed too, we've got our top four. They're all the new cars up there at the moment, with Mike Reel bringing in the rear there in the Aston Martin in 5th position.
Oh yeah, not to mention our top our Pro-Am driver, Mike Reel. That's sitting P5. Well done, mate. Congrats on that situation right there. But yeah, the brand new, two brand new Porsches. That's a car going well off track and avoiding the signs. But yeah, two new Porsches, the new Fez and the new Lamborghini, sitting 1, 2, and 3, and 4, which is nice. But yeah, very good to see what happened to that car though.
Got the two main battles on track, both on your screen at the moment. Lots of interesting little packs forming around. It's that, look, I mean, even just looking at the track map, we don't have heaps of cars on here, but it's pretty packed all the way around. There's not many spots for clean air.
Actually, that was one thing I noticed in our split. It seemed that early on I had a little bit of space out on the track, but once the first round of pit stops happened, which is basically, it's sort of that's how it works, but there was always someone near. Like there was always something going on, whether it was a blue flag or I had someone on my rear or not far behind, or I was trying to chase on. There was always never more than like a second gap between someone. It was quite fun.
Yeah, I think it just shows that, the level of competition. Everyone's reasonably close together, even all the way down to the M class drivers. Everyone's pretty tight, and a track like Oulton Park, where overtaking can be difficult. People get held up in traffic a lot, even when they are, not in a blue flag situation. It does make it very interesting, and you've always got little battles going on almost everywhere. But because of the difficulty in overtaking and the few opportunities you have, it's all sort of more psychological warfare as you're sort of darting around behind, back and forth, trying to make the guy ahead of you nervous and pull a mistake, which, yeah, it's a bit of a mental battle for a lot of these drivers right now.
Definitely. And as I said, I think earlier, you're going to be 7/10 to a second quicker than someone to make an overtake sort of happen here. So that mental warfare definitely comes into play early on. You got to sort of, if you're the car behind, maybe sit for a lap or so, see where you think you're stronger or weaker than the car ahead, and then plan your move as you go. But yeah, no, it's always good to see that there's always going to be these little battles throughout all the splits and that. You can probably put that down to the quality of drivers, but as everyone progresses through the rookie series, endurance racing, sprint series, some of us have done this now for 5-6 seasons, some are new. You're always going to have some kind of battle on track, so you always be racing someone. It's a great series to get involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time I seem to find a second or a second and a half or something like that in my own pace, it seems like everybody else finds that exact same second, and I'm just not really pushing up the field as quickly as I would hope. And it just shows you that people are always getting faster, and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of sort of patience and care with your driving to really gain up and skill up and get to those top echelons, because it's just, it's so competitive up there.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know whether you've noticed it in terms of when you're driving or you're trying to get a little bit more speed on that, but I know a few drivers I've spoken to over the course of years doing this now. I've only done it for like 2 years now, but you get to a point where you think you hit your new peak, I guess, your speed, and then you just can't seem to progress. You just sort of hit that wall, and then all of a sudden you'll gain 3 or 4 tenths, and then it's like, oh, how the hell did I do that? But then it becomes, oh no, the Porsche and the Beamer have collided. Oh, that's sadness.
Not the end to that battle that we would have been hoping for, unfortunately.
No.
But yeah, that's the sort of thing that can happen when you're following so closely for so long. Just one little mistake from either driver, and yeah, you get an incident like that. Very unfortunate end to that battle there.
Indeed. But yeah, have you noticed that you sort of hit those walls and then all of a sudden you'll gain a bit of speed and then you can sort of match it and that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, look, my thing at the moment hasn't so much been my pace, because my pace has improved quite a bit. I've been at this for just about a year in ACC, and I found my pace is gotten, I'm about 3 seconds on average away from the top guys, sometimes 4 seconds, depends on the track. And I'm finding my pace is getting better and better, but what I am finding is what I used to be strong with, which was my consistency and my racecraft, has sort of fallen away as I've decided to start pushing more. As we quickly go to this replay, you'll see, I think he just outbreaks himself a little. Yeah, and they just so easy for that kind of thing to happen. Nothing in that little incident, but probably a penalty coming his way, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that's just the nature of the Porsche. I think it's very similar to the old one. I only drove the new one real brief, but I still think it's got better braking capability than most cars, like the old one did. So probably just thought he could outbrake a little bit more than what he could, but unfortunately, aero wash or in the slipstream, you're always carrying a bit too much speed, and unfortunately, that those are the way that the cookie crumbles, so to speak.
Yeah, and an unfortunate way to finish that up here. But the battle here for the podium, for that final spot on the podium, is still very hot. Only 3.5 bit tenths separating these two at the moment. Samuel is not giving this battle up. He's got 6 minutes to go. I wager he's got a chance, but Peach is not going to make it easy for him, and I'm pretty excited to see which of these two comes out on top.
Yeah, I believe Pete is going to make that Ferrari 15 cars wide. Yeah, that Lambo is going to see a very pink Fez for a long time, I think. But here's a question for you so far after watching this race now and the dying minutes of it. Who would you shout is probably the driver of the day for you?
It's a tough call. We've seen really good performances. I mean, Sweet's been quite good all race. Really has held on to his position, defended well. You got to give a shout out to Floyd as well. You know, he's captured that top position and held on to it, stayed out of trouble for the most part, and has been really consistent. You know, that's why he's in P1. Honestly, you know, there's you know, Samuel's got a lot of pace, Peach has got a lot of pace, but you know, they've made little mistakes here and there, and Floyd just hasn't had those sort of mistakes. So it's hard to put that off, but yeah, it's a tough call. Even Matty Power there in P10 in the Bentley, you got to give a shout to someone in a bit of a slower car doing well. Yeah, it's hard to call, but I think I'd have to go. I think I'd have to go for Floyd, even though it's the obvious choice.
Yeah, it's a fair call. I was thinking Floyd myself, really, because just his early defense, like early attacks and early defense, his race choices and that, and just the fact that he didn't get caught up in any of the incidents involved in the top 5, just shows, like, you know, if you are clean and smart, so to speak, the results just sort of fall into your hands sometimes. So you've got to give a shout out where it's due, because yeah, the defending was good, the attacking was good, the choices of when to pit and when not to pit and all that. Yeah, the gaps come down from that 10 seconds that he had, but you know, traffic, probably taking a little bit easier than he needs to. He's not stressed out. But yeah, I would say that. But then, as I said, Matty Power sitting in the back of the top 10. That man can drive the Bentley. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and doing it really consistently as well. You know, we've seen him a couple of times, but hasn't been involved in any incidents. But God, I'm sure there's guys that you know, have been driving really well that we just haven't seen, because there's just been so many little interesting battles and so many little incidents that have captured our attention. That, I think the whole field's done really well today, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of the field, we haven't really spoke much about the AM drivers. I mean, we did early on, but leading the AM charge at the moment, Mr. Stewie Matthews, yelling at clouds, sitting in P17 there as the top AM driver, doing well. Good stuff, sir.
Yeah, interesting that who I can't remember, the name's got out of my head, but previously up there in P10 we had our AM driver. It seems to have fallen off completely out of that timing tower, so obviously gotten caught up in some big incidents. Yeah, interesting to see what happened there.
Yeah, I can't remember the name now myself, but yeah, it was on his debut, so he was top 10, but maybe delayed stops, or maybe there was damage, maybe had yeah, many things could have possibly happened to the driver at that point. But at the moment, your leading pro is obviously Ben Floyd, ahead of Sweet and PJ, with then Real, Dryer, and Stoddart. Stoddart? I don't know. I'm bad with names. Those are your pro-am.
Stoddart's right.
Hey, I did think. And then Stewie Matthews with Mitchell and Mercer. That's your podium sitters at the moment, with the dying 3 minutes of the race, which is about 2 laps remaining, depending on how quick. Yeah, P1's coming around the last corner now by the look of it. So it'll be 2 laps remaining, judging by the timing. We'll see if that's the way the podium sits out.
Yeah, and I mean, and look, there's another call for the driver of the day, as we just put up the voting for all your different levels of competition we have here. You can vote for the driver of the day and the best livery and a few other things. Mike Reel's another good shout there in 5th position. Hasn't put much of a foot wrong all race. I haven't really seen anything from Mike Reel all race. You haven't really cut to it, but he's just been there consistently in that top 10 in 5th position, just holding on to it. Just hasn't put a foot wrong. Another just really nice, consistent drive, and he's winning the pro-am at the moment.
You say consistency is key, but yeah, sometimes not being on the stream isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, you can get a really good result by just having a clean race, never getting involved in things, just letting things unfold in front of you. But yeah, no, way to capitalize. Well done, Real.
I noticed before too that Tsinekis and Samuel overtook Sean Muller, who's down there in P14 at the moment. So that just shows you how far ahead these leaders are. That they're lapping P almost back into the top 10 here. So it's just a huge amount of pace in all these drivers. They are just going at 600%.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether you notice it in our split. I had a quick look at the timing sheet, and even though I finished P7, I was still a minute behind the leader.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
Oulton's a track that does that too, especially when you've got those two mandatory spots. It does sort of break the field up in quite interesting ways, and you do end up with some pretty large gaps from the pacier folks out there on track.
Oh yeah, it was just more to the point that there are some incredibly talented and fast drivers across the board there in each split, and yeah, once again you can see that these top four definitely putting on a bit of a showcase for us, as we see a Porsche go slightly wide there, yielding to these guys coming through. Done well, but looks like this is the final lap, because we got 30 seconds remaining in the race. Looks like P1 is just going through the first chicane, as we are still on board with Samuel here, trying to tack onto the back of Peach. Can he make something happen in the dying 2/3 of this lap, on the penultimate lap?
I think Peach has got this one in the bag. He hasn't put a foot wrong since that early incident he had at the chicane very early on in the race, and has just driven very nicely for the rest of it. And I think he's well earned this P3, and I think he's going to do his best here to keep Samuel away. But as you say, Samuel is really all up in the diffuser of that car.
Yeah, I think this is his last chance here. If Samuel sees that Peach gets a bit of a compromise line through this section here, the double right-hander, his last movement is into this last corner, but he's just too far back at this point. From my opinion, it's just not going to happen. No chance. I think he's backed off. As we see Floyd come across the line for the pro win and the win overall, with Corey Sweet in P2 and Peach going to take the final podium position. He does, with Samuel finishing in P4.
Great battle there from those two, though. Great battles all around. As we go down the order, Paddle crossing the line here in 15th, has done well. Pretty good recovery. Has had a bit of a miserable race back there, but he's recovered pretty well.
I was going to say 15th after getting that 30-second pen too, after he's with the pit stops and that's actually a fair effort. So what on, mate? Although it looks like he might be driving that car a little bit hot. No, he's just... Oh, there he goes. He's off in the grass. Oh, this could end badly.
Going for the jump. And he
that
doesn't make
cool.
it work. It almost went over. It almost went over, but it did not. Stood out there in P7. Very respectable drive.
P7 overall, but P3 in the Pro-Am class, it would seem. So well done, sir. And it looks like, as we go down the list a bit further, it looks like Stewie Matthews may have got the amateur win as well. But yeah, nice work there from a Split Red, as we're waiting for the final drivers to cross the line, and we'll tick the session over and we can get the final results.
Green light, go, go, go.
Just bear with us for a moment, chat, while we see where we're at, and we'll see how we go. So with Split Red's Season 1 race opener, 70 minutes of Oulton Park, we have the winner of Ben Floyd, Corey Sweet, and rounding off that podium is John Tsinekis. And we go to the Pro-Ams, and we'll get with, we got Mike Reel, Dryer from P2, Stoddard P3 for the Pro-Ams, and the amateurs looks like it's going to be Stewie Matthew, Mitchell in P2, and I cannot see the third amateur. but it's there. There we go.
There
Third
we go.
amateur
Mercer
being
in third.
Mercer. So yeah, well done, Split Red, and welcome to the opening round of the series. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's fantastic to be back. We've had I must say, like 5 really good races so far. And we've still got some more to go. We've got our North American and our European splits coming up. If you're around for those particular time zones, there's going to be some good racing there and some great commentary and all of that good stuff. But that about does us in Asia Pacific for round 1. It's been a pleasure, Notsky.
Yeah, thank you for joining me tonight. That was good to watch and good to race. And we'll see.
Great work, gang.
guys. Oh, thank
So I'm
you,
trying to
Mr.
sneak
Malik.
in there, but you're doing a great job. Nah, awesome stuff. Yeah, what a round. Off to Watkins next week. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting, that's for sure. If this is what we're starting off like.
Those that are trying to do the voting, it's the sheets just cucked itself, so I'm just trying to fix that and I'll post it up in Discord. So please be patient. But yeah, thanks Mike, thanks Sean, appreciate it very much. Awesome stuff.
My pleasure. See you guys next week.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, everybody. And yeah, thanks to everybody who jumps in.
We'll be back to, how long time? What time is it now? 10:36. Back in 6 hours for Europe split. Nick Amon is the man behind the mic and everything else. And about 6 hours after that, it'll be North America, their split as well, which is completely full. So that should be an absolute cracker of a race too. So anyway, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you back next week if you're in Asia Pacific for Watkins Glen. Have a great weekend.